want to make sure that I acknowledge the sponsor of the show, Tiege Hanley, because Tiege Hanley sent me this new pack. They sent me the new Tiege pack, so I just literally pulled the paper out, got it out of the mail, and I started going through it, and I got a little bit more excited than I should. You know what I'm saying? So they did send me the Tiege pack, and I don't even know what this is yet. So I'm assuming this is what you get when you first order your Tiege, and I don't know what this is. Oh, this is dope. This is absolutely dope. Is this a nail kit? Ladies, get this for the fellas. Fellas, don't wait for the ladies to get it for you. This is free. This just comes with it. 30% off your first order, plus 20% off for life. Literally. Oh, snaps. I didn't know that they were sending it like this. Real talk. So this is the nail kit that they sending you. All right. So now you ain't looking like a dusty. This is a free gift straight from Tiege for the people that ordered the Tiege. They got the small one for the little hands like mine's. They got the big joints for your toenails. And then they got the joints at the bottom too. You know what I'm saying? For y'all that's a little bit more crustier than usual. All right. So that's one of the free gifts that Tiege got inside of the pack. And then what is this? Says squeeze a quarter size amount of Tiege Hanley body wash on the center of the wet bristles. Lather, scrub, rinse, and repeat for the perfectly satisfying wash every time. So that's inside of there also, right? Ooh, I can get my rubber ducky on right here. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to Tiege for sending me that uncomplicated skincare for men. And then what we got in here? We got the actual Tiege pack, right? So this is the normal Tiege pack, but then they gave me the supersized joint for the people. They wanted me to show the people exactly what they got when they ordered that first Tiege pack, when you're getting your 30% off your first order, and then you get your free gifts. You get 2 free gifts, and then the 20% off for life. So the 20% off for life is a new thing. And, dang, I ain't even got my keys on me to open this up. Maybe I can use the little nail clipper thing. I ain't got to buy no nail clipper for my new joint downtown. And then you get all of the washes, all of the scrubs, all of the AM, the PMs, and all of that stuff. So you got the whole thing inside of there for you to make sure you take care of yourself. But you got to make sure you take care of it every day, right? We don't want to miss days. We don't want to be looking like dusties. It does not absolve you from being able to make sure that you brush your teeth. Brush your teeth. It don't fix the teeth problem. Don't fix you ironing your clothes. Don't fix you being able to take care of your business. But it absolutely makes sure that your skin is phenomenal, even when you go in between shaves. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to Tiege Hanley. We absolutely appreciate you. Thank you for continuing to hold us down. I might do an official Tiege commercial, but I like just talking authentically to the people. I like giving the people the authentic look of what it is that you're dealing with, and I want you to hear from me personally, because anybody can do that little pitch and they can make some little videos, but very few of us can actually speak to the products of exactly what it is that you're supposed to use. So yeah, Tiege Hanley, 30% off your first order, and then 20% off for life. That's the Anton Daniels pack, 20% off for life. Using any other Tiege pack, make sure that you go ahead and let that go. And make sure you tap into the link that's in the description and take care of it, all right? What's going on is Anton from AntonDaniels.com. I appreciate you guys for continuing to rock with me. Thank you for tuning in for another edition of the Millionaire Morning Show. I am your host, Anton Daniels. It is Tuesday, August 20th, 2024, year of our Lord. Today, we will be having a probably 2 to 3 hour show, so buckle up. I'm going to try to get y'all through the majority of your shifts from the time that you get to work all the way until the time that you go to lunch. That way, you only have a small amount of time that you got to put in and dedicate to your people at the job that you're not distracted by continuing to get this good information and entertainment. Who don't want this? Who shouldn't be subscribed to the Anton Daniels Show? You know what I'm saying? So if you guys have not already, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Send this to your family and friends. Send it to all of the people that got the middle part buzz downs. Whatever you got to do, make sure that you send this and align it with a group of people that's going in the direction that you're going in, and the people that you would want to go in this direction, because they need this information. They need this get right. They need the same thing that I gave them on the Monday night show. Shout out to Q. What up, friends and family? What's up? What up? What up? What up? What up? Yeah, man, I'm excited. A lot of people always ask me, how do I get up every single day and have all of this energy? Because it's rare. It happens occasionally, probably once every 6 to 8 months. You might see me on here, and the people know. The people know. We don't give people enough credit for being able to recognize when we going through something or when we feeling down or when things happen and all of that stuff. But y'all have seen me probably, I don't know what, 6, 8 months ago was the last time that it happened to me where I came in and I was feeling some type of way. And the people knew and they was able to spot it immediately. I went ahead and just took a day, you know what I'm saying? Took an afternoon to myself. But people ask me on a regular basis, why am I so excited? And how do I get up with this energy? I go to bed late with the energy. I get up with the energy. And it's because I'm genuinely dedicated to what I do. I really believe that I'm making a difference. I genuinely believe in my heart, in my core, in the soul of me, that I'm doing what I need to do. Yesterday, before I jumped on the Q show, and before I headed over, because I went and I did a video that I dropped this morning on the Anton Daniels channel. And so I shot that because usually I know it's difficult for me to shoot content in the morning because I want to get as much sleep as possible. That way I'm refreshed and I'm energized to come in and kick it with y'all and do the show in the morning on a Tuesday, because Mondays is the day that I usually go to bed during the week as late as possible. So I usually don't get to bed till like 1:30 Eastern time because I do the Q show. And so we do that for about 3 hours and some change. Then I go brush my teeth, take a shower, get into bed. And so I try to sleep as long as possible. So I have to try to have everything prepped. And it's a machine, right? We got a machine. We got things taken care of. We got the videos to get done and scheduled, chopped up, videos to record, content to shoot. So Mondays in general is a very, very long day for me. And what I like to do is try to get as much done and try to get as much head as possible by working. So I get into the office or I get into my studio at like 5:30 in the morning, and this is Sunday and a Monday, and then I'm here probably till 8 o'clock at night, right? So I'm from 5:30 to 8 on a Monday. I got corporate America stuff that I got to take care of. I got business stuff and real estate stuff, so I'm working with contractors, and I got people calling me, and I got people overseas that I'm dealing with. And then you got the content creation stuff, right? And so I leave at about 8:30, and people only see what they see as far as the presentation layer, but they don't see all of the work and the dedication and the time that goes into it. Working with people, planning for things. You leave at 8:30, so you don't even get no breaks. You don't get no time off. I leave at 8:30. The first thing I do is I go out, I grab the camera, and then I record the video that I wind up dropping in the morning. And then right after that, you know, you go and you grind and you go and push, and then you got to go and prepare for the show, for the Monday night show. And it just goes into that, and it's that circle, right? And so you just dedicate yourself, you push, you grind. And so in order to do this, and the reason why a lot of people aren't successful, even when it comes to content creation, is because they don't have the love for it. You got to have a true love for what you do to continue to do what you do, and then approach it with the same energy. Because a lot of people, even when they jump on these panels or they get into content creation or they finally drop a video, it's low energy. It looks like they had to do it. Prior to me even leaving the studio yesterday, and I was telling Rita yesterday, I said, man, I spent 2.5 hours doing about 250 takes of one thing. I had to shoot a video for something that's coming up. I got to fly out and I got to go and do a big show, a big primetime show soon. And I don't want to announce it until it's already done. But I had a deadline to get this video over to the people because they wanted to get it pre-recorded and all of this stuff before. And so it's a lot that goes into the producers and working with the producers of a lot of these big shows and big networks. And in order to get it right, because I don't want to just send it, because I could have did it in less than 15, 20 minutes. And, you know, you could have had it edited and all of that stuff, but I had to do it right. And so I had to get it one take. It got to be a one-take shot, right? And I wanted to make sure that it was absolutely perfect. And it took me 200 plus times to record the video. I was here And I said the same thing, and I had to memorize everything, and I said the same thing over and over and over and over and over and over again. And if I got one thing wrong or enunciate my words wrong on this or did this wrong, we got to do it again. We got to do it again. We got to do it again. We got to shoot it again. And people be like, well, man, no, you could just fix. No. If it's not right, I'm not sending it. If it's not perfect, if it doesn't meet the expectation of what we do as bag chasers, then we're not doing it. We don't do nothing halfway. We don't take any shortcuts. And it's that dedication behind the scenes. It's the perfection of it. It's you really wanting this greatness. It's you willing to be able to put in the time night in and night out. When everybody is ready to go to the bar, when everybody goes out to eat, when everybody is out having fun and they partying, the difference between people that are successful and the people that's not successful is the ones that decide that they want to dedicate themselves. And when I was having a conversation with the young lady, Jamisha, shout out to Jamisha, and I want y'all to make sure that y'all show some love to the panelists that come on the panel because I don't always want people that agree with me. When I was having a conversation with Jamisha yesterday, and she said, oh, you just special. You think you're the anomaly. You think you're different than everybody else. I am different. I'm absolutely different. I'm built different. I'm 100% different. The cards that we was dealt was the same. We got dealt the same poker hand, but I played mine different. I played my hand different, and I still play my hand different. It's the same thing that I had today when I was in college, when I first went to school. My work study job was in the library, so I would hurry up and do all of my work, and then until the library closed, I would sit there and read every single book that I could get my hands on. And so now, years later, more than a decade later, 15, 20 years later, when I'm so knowledgeable and I'm able to debate or I'm able to have conversations or explain to y'all in detail, even though I was a C student on paper when it came to the classroom, but when it came to the thing that I was passionate about, I dedicated myself. And so every day I would read anything I can get my hands on. I was looking at all of the different openings from chess, and I play chess every single day. A lot of people that know me knows that the biggest thing that I have on all of my devices is I'm always on chess.com. And I'm always blitzing. I'm always playing chess. I always got a game going. So I studied every single opening that I could study. Every single ending. I read all of the history books. I read slavery books. I understand exactly the history of the people. I read the Bible 7 times back and forth. And so I would just dedicate myself. And when everybody else was out partying, and so I don't feel offended when people say, "Oh man, you a square." I'm cool with that. While you was out fumbling the bag, getting a bunch of student loans, messing it up, I decided to make the sacrifice, and I was good at it, and I was great at it, and I was dedicating myself to the thing that actually propelled me to be successful today. The seeds that you sow today is the things that you're going to benefit or suffer from tomorrow. The seeds that you sow today is the things that you're going to benefit from or suffer from tomorrow. And so when they had that conversation with me and they think that they actually talking negative to me or they schooling me about the fact that, oh, you think you better than everybody else? No, I know I'm better than everybody else. And it's not because I'm haughty or I'm arrogant or anything like that. It's because I put the time in. And usually what happens is in any competition, the person that is the best usually dedicated themselves the most to whatever their craft is and they perfected. And I'm not even at the tip of the iceberg. The same work ethic and the reason that I'm comparing myself to what I did when I was in college and the same thing that I did in all of my businesses, it's the same thing. I am no different today than I was in yesteryear. In high school, I had the same work ethic, except for I dedicated it differently. When I got out of school and I went into the plant, I would work 16 hours a day and I would go to school and I would study while I was at the job. When I wound up losing my job, I got 2 jobs and then I went back to school. When I got my work study job, when I first got out of high school, I read everything that I can get my hands on. And so I party afterwards. When a weekend hit or I ain't got a stream or something like that, okay, listen, we going VIP. We're going to go in a Sky Terrace. We're going to pay $10,000 for our stuff. We don't care about no money because money don't mean nothing to us. We earned it. We got it. We can do what we want to do. Now we in a position to really ball. I could buy whatever car I want to buy, even though I spend a majority of my time in here and my car is just in the garages and parking lot. When I decide that I want to drive a car, it's going to be the best car on the street. And so I'm okay with people being okay with being regular, but I'm not okay with being regular. My work ethic, my dedication, my love for what I do is going to be impeccable. And I hopefully inspire you, and I hopefully tap into something in your soul that ultimately leads you to say, you know what? I need to do things differently. I don't want to be a part of the go along, get along gang. I'm not interested in just voting based off of identity politics. I don't need the federal government to give me anything. I'm not waiting on anybody to give me reparations. I'm going to go and get it on my own, because one thing is for sure and two things is for certain. You may be more talented than me, but you're going to have to beat me, because you'll never outwork me. You'll never outwork me. And I even see the memes online and the TikToks and the Instagram videos where people try to make fun of people that always encourage people and saying, hey, you got to work, you got to grind, you got to get it. This is what I do as an entrepreneur. I'm cool with that. If that's the best joke if the best joke that somebody can come up with on you as a person that is successful is you think you better than everybody else, or you not better than everybody else, or you arrogant, or you think that just because you think if the best joke that people can come up with is to say you a square, or you think you not one of us because you didn't have children out of wedlock, throw all of the jokes that you can. Hit me with it, hit me with it, hit me with it. But I guarantee you this, I don't drive a Nissan Altima with no bumper on it. I guarantee you I don't drive a Nissan Altima that look like this with no bumper on it. I guarantee you I'm not going to be begging the federal government for a handout. I guarantee you that I'm going to be in VIP and I'm going to be looking at you weighing 280. If the best thing that they can do, and this is the thing that y'all need to start really standing on as a culture, as a people, and when I say as a culture, I'm not talking about black culture, I'm talking about American culture, I'm talking about separating yourself. Separate yourself from the weak people. Stop trying to fit in and stand out because you got a unique talent about you that makes you great. It don't have to necessarily be a content creator. It don't have to be a basketball player. You can be unique. I was looking at Cam last night and she inspired me. Cam inspired me last night because she was telling her story and it was so similar to mine. And that is what really attracted to me to her as a content creator, because what I realize is that there are people like us out there, and you don't have to be ashamed of being good. You don't have to be ashamed of being righteous. You don't have to be ashamed of dedicating yourself and have a good work ethic. You don't have to be ashamed of when people call you a sellout just because you don't go along and get along and you understand what hard work is. And so you don't feel as though somebody deserves a handout of your hard work just because they woke up this morning and they saying that you deserve, or they say that you have to come back and save us from ourselves, even though we continue to have self-inflicted. I didn't make the same decisions as you, so I'm going to have different results, and I'm not required to come in and be a step baby daddy because I didn't have children out of wedlock. Why should I be subjected to the same things that you subjected to when I sowed my seeds on fertile soil? When my foundation is in bedrock, it's not on sand. It can't just wash away. I never took the easy way out, and so y'all have to be able to stand on that. Stand on that. Dedicate yourself. Separate yourself. It's not for everybody. You right. When people sit there and they jump in my comments or they reach out to me and they say, but Anton, everybody came rich. You right. Just me and my bag chasers and my people. We got Stock Club on Friday. Who's showing up? We got Stock Club on Friday. Who's showing up? It's a lot of people that show up and they sign up for the Patreon, but they don't rewatch the videos even if they can't meet the Stock Club, or they can't go in and they can't watch the live stream in real time. I can see the analytics. I see the dedication. People show up and they sign up with good intentions, but they don't follow through. Who's showing up and who's going to be watching Stock Club on Friday? Because I'm giving out game that it took me decades to come through. When I jump on this platform and I talk about money, I don't have to rehearse. I don't have a script. I don't have to write things out. I just talk because this is what I do. If I start talking about relationships or if I start talking about real life, I don't have to figure it out. This is just what I do. I'm a master at my craft. I've mastered being able to see things that other people can't see. It ain't that I got a special talent. Ain't nobody special or more unique than anybody else. I can't talk better than anybody else. I just made sure that I re-record myself and I study and I look at the way that I pronounce my words every single day. And then I make adjustments and I make tweaks and I make tweaks here and I make tweaks there. What you gonna do? When you gonna show up and actually do the thing that God ordained you to do? Or are you gonna be one of them people that say, you know what? I'm going to say, God, forgive me, save me from myself on my deathbed, and hopefully I can make it into heaven. God can't use you as a person that is a vegetable in the bed. The goal is to save souls. The goal is for your life to be a reflection of the thing that you advocate for. So if you sit here telling me that you're going to give your best years to the devil and then you're going to give the rest of your years to God, what use do we have for you in the kingdom? The goal is to be useful. The goal is to be a reflection. I don't have to go out to the streets and preach it and go to the hood. You got the internet just like everybody else. And instead of being on OnlyFans, dedicate yourself and subscribe to the Millionaire Morning Show and get into the Patreon and put in the work. Ain't nobody making you do the stuff that you do. Ain't nobody making you steal. Everybody keep making an excuse. Oh, it's white supremacy. It's a system. No, it's your mama and your daddy, and you are going to do the same thing to your kids that your mama and your daddy did to you because you keep making excuses and you don't want to be responsible and accountable for what your actions are. Don't sit here and tell me that I owe you something. You owe yourself. You owe you. That's it. Eric Thomas said that a long time ago in a speech. He said, you owe you an explanation. Now, my daughter listened to that every single day. Your kids are going to be a reflection of the parents. Put it in them young, they'll never depart from it. We can't use you as a used up person. Don't nobody want a person that has all been used up. Yes, God can redeem, but grace is for God, not for me. I don't have to have grace. God said he got grace for you. I don't have no grace for you. I got this hard pill for you to swallow that's 100% reality that is going to change your life if you decide to embrace it in a time that you're supposed to embrace it. But don't come back to me. It's people that keep coming to me 2 years ago. Oh, man, you know what? I had a coaching call with you 2 years ago. Do you remember me? No, I don't remember you. Depart from me. I don't know you. I told you what to do in the first coaching call. I told you to make sure that you followed up with me. You didn't. You want to hit me up 2 years later. I'm gone. I don't have no more capacity for you. I dedicate my time to the people that ultimately need me, that's really trying to do the work. Don't come to me asking me to fix your life. I'm going to give you the solution. You fix your own life. Don't come to me 2 years later after you had a coaching call and you never followed up, and I gave you the assignment and I gave you what you were supposed to do. I gave you homework to take care of your business, and I didn't even charge you the same thing that everybody else is charging you. And I got the lowest rates, but I'm the most successful than all of the people. But you sitting here telling me about what it is that you need, and you not even dedicating yourself. I don't want to hear it. I have no sympathy for the weak. Not in the United States of America. I have no sympathy for the weak. The weak get eaten. They get thrown out. Everybody can't be rich. Somebody got to go out here and serve Starbucks. Then get my goddamn coffee hot, and I want it there so that I can make sure I get to the studio on time and I can speak to the people that's actually trying to get somewhere. Make sure my coffee hot. Cool, I'm with it. Care nothing about how you feel? Grow up. You a man. You a grown man, dog. You a grown man asking an organization, asking an entity, asking a Democratic Party, asking a Republican Party. You begging? You begging? I look down on people that beg. You begging for reparations? You begging for the federal government to give you something? I'm not waiting on no another grown man to give me nothing. I take what I want. I ask questions later. I ask for forgiveness. Not for permission. I don't ask for permission. I ask for forgiveness. Hey, forgive me. I went over there and took everything. Winners rewrite history. Winners determine the course of the losers. A loser can't sit there and ask a winner to give them something because you owe me for beating me. You did to me. You don't mean nothing to me. I don't even see you. It's people from my past, they can't get in touch with me. They asked me this. I ran into some people at Afro Nation. I'm sorry, y'all. Let me rock. Let me just get this out because I got time today. I ain't worried about corporate America no more, so I can stream as long as I want. You know why? Because I'm not beholden to anybody. Somebody that I ran into, shout out to my homegirl. She ran into me at Afro Nation. She said, "Hey, Anton, are you going to the reunion?" And me and Rita was sitting there, and I looked at Rita, and we just started laughing. No, I'm not going to the reunion. Who at my door? Let me see who at my door. My neighbor said that they was inspired. I'm sorry, every time I start to really get going, my neighbors start to interrupt me, or a DoorDash person come in, or some celebrity call me. We good. Anyways, Let me go ahead and get started with the show. I didn't expect for that to happen. I'm sorry I started going off because I was inspired by the conversations that was happening last night. And, you know, once I get going, it just is what it is. Make sure y'all subscribe to the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. Tiege Hanley, 40% off your first order plus 20% off for life. Make sure y'all tap into the Patreon, all right? It's a group of people that's going in the direction that you're going in. Let me read some of these cash apps and these super chats, and then we're going to go ahead and get started with the show. I'm about to throw my voice out already. I know they like, man. Boutique Mills is in the building. Shout out to Boutique Mills. I appreciate you for supporting the platform. Mike That Dude is in the building. Thank you, Mike That Dude. I appreciate you also. ESDC, shout out to ESDC. My dog, Philip Jackson, thank you to my rich friend. Says, you better preach, bro. They say I missed my calling, that I should have been on a pulpit somewhere. I say this is church. We having church right here, right now. This is church right here, right now. Let me go ahead and read some of these super chats, and then we're going to go ahead and really get started with the show. Shout out to B-Man. D-Lo says, hey, AD, I'm 26, trying to change my life to get closer to God and get more discipline. I've been feeling discouraged lately. Any advice on scripture or prayer that can help? Thanks for all that you do. Read the Bible every day, back to forth. If I didn't just fire you up, and I didn't know that you was going to send me that, if that, what I just said to you, didn't fire you up and give you some incentive to really get off your butt and grind and hustle, if you're not watching the Millionaire Morning Show and feeling encouraged, the reason that I stream on the morning time is to make sure that I give y'all some encouragement to drive you, to be a reflection of what I advocate for you to be through my own life and through my own transparency. If that don't fire you up, big dog, I don't know what else to do for you. You got to fire yourself up. Shout out to Rapper Israel says, would love to see Kwame Brown on one of your panels. Shout out to Kwame. Kwame is my guy. Fellas, words of wisdom from AD. Get you a cam. Forget all of these middle part bust down chicks. Zell is in the building. I appreciate you, Zell. Frederico says, big love to Cam. Cam, do you teach a wife class? I'm trying to send Island Girl Q down there to you. Q is my girl. Shout out to Ray Sean, my rich friend in the building. Says, shout out to Anton for continuing to lead by example. I love you. I love you too. I love you too. And Ray Sean is one of my most successful people that's part of the Bag Chasers. Frederico says, Demetra, come get this man's coffee. Ain't nobody about to be sitting here waiting on nobody to come and save us. Save yourself. You know what I'm saying? Save yourself. Anyway, shout out to my neighbors. They said that they was inspired. I be locking my door, so you got to knock in order to come and say anything to me. So you can't just walk into my studio. Gabe XYZ official says, no one's waiting on reparations. It's money that's owed. Yeah. I heard it all before. Go talk to your mama and your daddy. Don't talk to me about that. But thank you for the super chat. I appreciate you. Don't nobody owe losers. I disagree. Don't nobody owe losers anything. Bam Bam Lynch says, ex-boxer 33 together, 18 years, married for 10. Shout out to y'all. Open a gym in NYC for troubled youth seeking grant funding to expand the impact. Any advice, email me, AntonDaniels413@gmail.com, and we'll see what we can do. Shout out to Bam Bam Lynch. I appreciate you. Let's go ahead and get started with the show. Again, make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm. Thank you to everybody, including my dog, Philip Jackson. Philip Jackson, you always looking out for me. Rich friend in the building. Shout out to y'all. And again, make sure y'all subscribe. Hit a like for the algorithm. Subscribe to the channel. Jamal, I'm going to be reading that super chat shortly. Y'all ready to get started with the show? All right, let's get started. Quick hits, ladies and gentlemen. Quick Hits is a segment of the show that we don't necessarily think that we need to highlight each individual section on its own merit, but we definitely want to keep y'all in the loop of what's happening in these streets. First things first, 2 women is sought after a hit-and-run crash that killed a pedestrian, injured one and killed a pedestrian. Take a look.
Police are looking for 2 women involved in a multi-vehicle accident in Queens that killed 1 man and injured another. Let's get right to Good Day's Briella Tomasetti. She has the details from the crash, which happened in Queensboro Hill, and is still a very active scene and investigation. Briella.
Yeah, Tashani, good morning to you. The impact of that crash, so powerful, it took down an entire street light. And if you take a look over my shoulder, you'll see that police are working. They have been for the past few minutes to clear that, it appears, off the street. They are trying to get this intersection back open. It is a large and quite a dangerous intersection right near Queens College. Again, still completely shut down. This is pretty much at the height of the morning rush hour. And in this precinct alone, police say that traffic-related fatalities have jumped by 50% year to date. Police are investigating a hit-and-run in Queens that left a pedestrian dead. According to the NYPD, it happened at around 12:30 a.m. near the intersection of Horace Harding Expressway and Casino Boulevard. Police say a U-Haul truck and a white Honda sedan collided. As a result, a 56-year-old man was struck and killed. Mangled scraps of metal and a white Nike sneaker were left behind as police closed down the area for investigation.
It was pretty crazy to see that they blocked the whole expressway off.
The driver of the white Honda, a 42-year-old man, stayed at the scene and was taken to New York Presbyterian Queens Hospital in stable condition. Investigators allege that two women got out of the U-Haul and ran off westbound on Horace Harding Expressway. Police say one of the women was wearing a green shirt with white lettering and was barefoot. The other described to be wearing a red shirt, blue jeans, and only a pair of socks.
I take this highway to work, so seeing this was like kind of surprising.
According to the latest NYPD statistics, there have been 150 total traffic-related fatalities this year to date. 69 pedestrians, 37 motorists, 37 people riding.
Sounds like either drunk driving or maybe it's migrants. I don't know why they was driving a U-Haul, but two women is on the run for killing somebody. And that's why you got to just look at life as a little bit more precious, because I live every day like my last, because somebody can just come in an intersection and just crash into you in the middle of the night and nothing else is made of it. They just run. They not worried about you. They not about to stop and hold you down and check on you or nothing like that. It's just up from there. That's just the end of the conversation. So prayers for the family of the person that was killed, and hopefully they catch these two women and hold them accountable for their actions and hit them with the hardest parts of the law. All right, in Georgia, an election rule has changed, and it's starting to upset people on both sides, Democrats and Republicans. Republicans because they agree with the rule, Democrats because they don't agree with the rule and they protesting against it. Check it out.
Well, Georgia's State Board of Elections approved a controversial policy last-minute rule change a short time ago. The rule allows local election officials to investigate counts before certifying their county's results. Tonight, top state officials on both sides of the aisle have called foul. Fox 5's Rob D'Arienzo is live at the state capitol. A lot of eyes were on this vote. Rob, tell us what happened.
Hey there, Christine. Good afternoon. Well, a lot of eyes on this vote, especially on the first day of absentee voting here in Georgia. Now, Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger says he's concerned that these last-minute changes could sow chaos into the system, and a lot of Democrats agree.
This is dangerous to all Georgians, no matter who you want elected.
Voting rights activists sounded the alarm under the Gold Dome Monday morning as Georgia's election board met virtually to approve the plan that would require 3 separate poll workers to hand count ballots.
What we are already witnessing currently is 3 board members on the Georgia State Election Board behind these rule changes, showing partisan favor by putting their own goals before all Georgians.
Earlier this year, 3 pro-Trump Republicans who have cast doubt on the 2020 election results got appointed to the board. The former president called the trio his, quote, pit bulls fighting for honesty.
These are all very important things that we want our boards to review and expect them to review before they certify an election.
Important and is an important step to find some form of uniformity and acknowledgement that we do hear some of the other concerns.
On Monday morning, Republican Attorney General Chris Carr issued a formal opinion that the board couldn't direct him to reopen an investigation into unfounded claims of voter fraud in 2020.
Why would they be mad? Why are Democrats mad? Because they want to make sure that they hand count and that things are accurate before they certify an election, instead of coming back and then they saying that it sows chaos into a system by verifying and making sure that the actual results are real prior to you certifying an election. Why would they be mad at that? Why would they say that it sows chaos into a system? I don't understand that. If you don't have anything to worry about and you're not cheating, then it doesn't really matter if you want people to verify it prior to certifying an election. I don't understand why that's an issue. Why would they be protesting against that? Oh, okay, listen, let's go ahead and certify the votes. Let's make sure that everything is accurate prior to certifying an election here in Georgia. Why would that rule change actually institute something that's negative in any way, shape, or form? I don't understand it. I don't know why. I don't know why they would fight against that. But neither here nor there. And then last things is protesters breached the barricade at the Democratic National Convention. And I think that it was people that was trying to protest against the Israel-Hamas war. Take a look.
Hey guys, we want to come back live to you just so you can see demonstrators have torn down fencing with our own eyes. We saw one guy within the last 3 minutes or so pull what appeared to be a sledgehammer out of his backpack to pull apart fencing here. Many demonstrators, I'd estimate at least 100 or so now, have jumped fencing that was set up for the secured perimeter outside of the United Center. Now, on the other side of the fencing that you can't see are at least a couple of dozen police officers right now. We've seen Chicago police, we believe some out-of-state police, as well as Secret Service agents. Demonstrators now appear to be taunting those officers right now, but as of right now, you just hear a lot of screaming, you hear chants, but again, there are probably 4 or 5 fencing panes that have just been torn down outside of the secure perimeter near the United Center. This appeared to have been a peaceful protest leading up to this, guys. Since we've been here since 9 o'clock, we haven't seen any type of unrest. We hadn't seen any issues, any violence, any vandalism. But even with our own eyes, as we've shown you live on Fox 32, within the last 5 minutes, we've seen demonstrators come. There's one guy that you can tell who's standing on top of the concrete beamers, and they're tearing down the fencing even more. If you look ahead, we're standing right outside of the Pilgrim Rest Missionary Baptist Church, which is on Washington, I believe, is the street. We are not seeing, at least from our vantage point, at least a lot of police on this side. Police are at the end, I believe, trying to stop folks from getting as close to the United Center as they can. But again, we still are about 2 blocks away. But it appears that these demonstrators, at least the agitators that we're showing you right now, they won't stop. They're continuing to go. Again, one guy we saw with our own eyes pull a sledgehammer out of his backpack to destroy some of the fencing here. And so Chicago police are now trying to get control of this. We'll continue to monitor the situation as folks are.
They didn't have any of this at the Republican National Convention as far as people tearing down fences. I know that it's protesters at every event, but this is something that's unique in Chicago. And what they're basically saying and advocating for, because I did a little bit of research and I've been paying attention to what's going on in the news. That's my job. Don't worry about it. What they've been basically saying is that they're trying to hold Democrats accountable for continuing to send aid over to Israel. And they're saying that, listen, we won't vote for you if you don't stand down and make sure that you want to end this war and all of this other type of stuff or whatever. So I think that all of these protesters, and even though I'm not necessarily for liberals or all Democrats, I think that protesters that break the rules need to be held accountable, and they should absolutely 100% be arrested and prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. Because if you're going to protest, you need to protest peacefully, but you don't need to destroy stuff that's not even a part of your community, because a lot of these people is probably paid actors. But ladies and gentlemen, that's your quick hits. All right, let me read some of the super chats, and then we're going to go ahead and get started with the full show. Shout out to my dog, Jamal Fowler. I appreciate you, big dog. Thank you for holding me down. Frederico says, I pray North Carolina has oversight over our elections. Georgia, take note. If you can't get with the new voter bill, you are a part of the problem. I think that they need voter oversight. Turd Ferg Berg says, keep going, doing what you do, AD. Close to landing my first 6-figure position without a college degree at 28. That's when the real work starts. Once I get settled, time to chase that bag. Let's get it. Hey, don't be afraid to go back to school even though you do get that position, because you don't want that to be your ceiling. You know what I'm saying? Kung Fu Hustler says, I'm against terrorism and governmental terrorism. Me too, I agree with you. Anyways, let's continue on with the show. And again, I'll continue to read Cash Apps and Super Chats. Make sure you get that Tiege Hanley 40% off your first order plus 20% off for life. And then last but not least, make sure you tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. All right, so we're going to cover a lot of these convention speeches. as promised, because we want to give just as much coverage over to the Democratic National Convention as we did to the Republican National Convention. And the first up on our list, and let me give you a little bit of a preview of what we're gonna cover today. We're going to cover, and thank you for the super chat. I'm going to be reading that super chat shortly. We're going to cover AOC's speech. We're going to cover Hillary Clinton's speech. And then obviously we're going to spend an extended amount of time on Biden's speech. We want to go over to Trayon White. He was arrested as a DC councilwoman for bribery. We definitely want to have a conversation about layoffs over at Cisco and GM. And then if we still have time, then we'll go over a woman that moved to Iceland from the United States of America. But we definitely want to spend a majority of our time and give the same amount of coverage to the Democratic National Convention as we did the Republican National Convention. All right, y'all ready? Let's go ahead and get it popping.
Please welcome New York Representative Alexandria
I'm going to skip through this to
Ocasio-Cortez.
try to get to the core of this. I don't want to spend a whole lot of time on it.
Thank you, Chicago, for your energy. Thank you, Kamala Harris and Tim Walz, for your vision.
Let me say this. I believe that AOC, if we get through this Kamala Harris thing, I think that AOC will probably be promoted. And when I say promoted, I think that she's going to be given to you guys and then ultimately become the one that is possibly going to run for president of the United States at some point. I do believe that. She fits all of the boxes. She check all of the boxes. She definitely going to be one of the ones that they promote on the Democratic side to try to become president of the United States of America. You know, she got the background. I worked as a waitress.
I was taking omelet orders as a waitress in New York City.
See what I'm saying?
I didn't have health insurance. My family was fighting off foreclosure, and we were struggling with bills after my dad passed away unexpectedly from cancer. Like millions of Americans, we were just looking for an honest shake. And we were tired of a cynical politics that seemed blind to the realities of working people. It was then, only through the miracles of democracy and community, that the good people of the Bronx and Queens chose someone like me to elect them in Congress. And America, in my heart, I know from that same cloth of hope and aspiration, we will also elect Kamala Harris and Tim Walz as President and Vice President of the United States of America.
Think about that. You can go from being an omelet taker to being a Congress member. That's insane, bro.
A rare and precious opportunity. In Kamala Harris, we have a chance to elect a president who is for the middle class because she is from the middle class. She understands the urgency of rent checks and groceries and prescriptions. She is as committed to our reproductive and civil rights as she is to taking on corporate greed.
What a lot of people don't realize is that it's not about what you say, it's about how you say it. So AOC, she checks all of the boxes. She's actually pretty. You know, she's a woman of color. She comes from the background in which, you know, I was an omelet taker and all of this other stuff or whatever. And she fits that narrative, right? She was a waitress. She achieved the American dream by ultimately getting nominated and then winning her seat in Congress because she decided, you know, she went viral. She knows how to speak and she can communicate clearly. And, you know, again, pretty privilege matters also. And the fact that she can communicate clearly, I think that she absolutely is one of the ones to go. And so the fact that when AOC and people like this are giving these speeches, they're not giving these speeches because they're actually advocating for Kamala Harris. They're advocating for themselves. This is an opportunity for them to promote themselves. And so she's continuing to put herself in the eyes and endear herself to her constituents and to the Democratic Party. And so she's working her way up the ladder. And I honestly, in my heart, believe that AOC at some point is going to be pushed and then ultimately run for president of the United States of America. She very well can be, and I absolutely despise what she stands for. I don't like the fact that she advocates for immigration into this country, illegal immigration into this country. There's a lot of her talking points that just absolutely make my skin, it's just horrible. I think that she would be a horrible person to run a country. However, it doesn't change the fact that it's the same thing every single time. It's marketing. She's not saying anything any different than anybody else. It's the same speech. Oh my God, work in America, from the middle class, from people. Listen, the whole America is from the same thing. You know what I'm saying? Everybody is from the same thing. However, it doesn't change the fact that y'all got bad policy, bad politics, and y'all advocating for the worst of America, and y'all eventually gonna give it over to the immigrants. So, but I do think that she fits the narrative, and she's going to check every single box, and she don't have no smut on her name and her background and all this other negative stuff that, for example, Kamala Harris got. And she's going to be given to y'all in order to be a presidential candidate on the Democratic side at some point. I absolutely see it.
And she is working tirelessly to secure a ceasefire in Gaza and bringing hostages home. In Kamala Harris, I see a leader who understands. I see a leader with a real commitment to a better future for working families. And Chicago, we have to help her win. Because we know that Donald Trump would sell this country for $1 if it meant lining his own pockets and greasing the palms of his Wall Street friends. And
it's the same speech. It's the same thing over and over again. And it's so funny because we actually experienced Donald Trump for 4 years and we prospered as a nation, and we didn't experience any of that.
I, for one, am tired of hearing about how a two-bit union buster thinks of himself as more of a patriot than the woman who fights every single day to lift working people out from under the boots of greed, trampling on our way of life.
She thinks she Martin Luther King.
The truth is, Don, you cannot love this country if you only fight for the wealthy and big business. To love this country is to fight for its people, all people, working people, everyday Americans like bartenders and factory workers and fast food cashiers who punch a clock and are on their feet all day in some of the toughest jobs out there. You know, ever since I got elected, Republicans have attacked me by saying that I should go back to bartending.
Facts. Facts.
But let me tell you,
I'm with that.
I'm happy to any day of the week because there is nothing wrong with working for a living.
She's good. She knows how to play on the American people's emotions, and she speaks to a demographic that needs to have that validation and wants to identify with somebody. 100%.
Leaders like Kamala and Tim.
Who has never had. Now remember, Kamala Harris and Tim Walz, I've shown y'all on a live stream last week where I broke down Tim Walz, how much money that he makes and whether or not he's actually investing in what's going on here in America. They've never held a private sector job in their life. Not one day in their life. They've never held a private sector job in their adult lives, ever. They've always worked and used your tax dollars in order to pay their bills and continue to enrich themselves. So remember, when they're sitting there telling y'all about how these people are so much of y'all and a part of the middle class, they're lying to you. They have never held a private sector job in their lives. Every single paycheck has come from you guys, the taxpayers. Every last one of them. Every paycheck has come from the taxpayers. No matter what they've done for a living, is you that has paid their salaries. Remember that.
Just because the choice is clear to us does not mean that the path will be easy. Over the next 78 days, We will have to pour every ounce, every minute, every moment into making history on November 5th. But we cannot send Kamala and Tim to the White House alone. Together, we must also elect strong Democratic majorities in the House and in the Senate so that we can deliver on an ambitious agenda for the people. Because if you are a working parent trying to afford rent and childcare, Kamala is for you. If you are a senior who had to go back to work because your retirement didn't stretch far enough, Kamala is for you. If you're an immigrant family just starting your American story, Kamala is for you.
You see that? That's who they truly speaking to. I usually say that I have a 3-tier system. The thing that I'm working on now, the thing that I'm working on for the next 2 to 5 years, and then the thing that I ultimately want to manifest in 10 years. She did that exact same playbook. And so what she did was she spoke to the people that were now, the ones that they know is going to send their absentee ballots in and is going to vote today, which is the seniors. Those is a large demographic of people that actually participate in the election, regardless of what side of the aisle they're on, they participate. Then she spoke to the people that needed their heartstrings played on, that they needed to galvanize to get up to the polls, which is if you are a single mother, if you're a single parent and they're speaking to you, they want to take care of you. That's the tier 2. And the tier 3 is speaking to immigrants that come into this country. They want them to be galvanized and excited and participate and then be tied to the Democratic Party. Let me rewind one part of this speech so that you guys can understand what's going on.
If you're an immigrant family just starting your American story, Kamala is for you.
Oh, we know. We absolutely know. Them borders being open, one thing that we know for sure is because I don't necessarily go based off of what people say. What you say is a confirmation of what you do, or what you don't say is a confirmation of what you do. What I know for sure is that the Biden-Harris administration and then the Harris-Walz administration, if they were to get elected, is absolutely 100%. They didn't say anything about black people, people of color, people that are suffering, the factory workers and none of that. She said specifically, she spoke to her demographic that they can galvanize. And they said, listen, immigrants, even though you may need a translator, understand this. If you just starting your American journey and you just got here, guess what? Teach your kids to join the Democratic Party because we are the ones that's going to make sure that you get everything you need. And look what we've done for you so far. Look what we've done for you. So they're literally telling you to your face. Now, I will have people that come up on my panels. I'll have people that join my live streams. I'll have people that jump inside of my comments and say, oh, no, look, Anton, you don't know what you're talking about. You just this, you that, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But the fact of the matter is they will skip over this part because they didn't watch the Democratic National Convention. I'm more informed about what the Democrats are doing than they are. And they're literally telling them word for word, listen, we are going to support you with our tax dollars that the American people are paying. And I don't care if you just got over here, just starting your American journey, you having kids over here. Okay, the kids are now going to be American citizens. We are for you. Tie yourself to the Democratic Party. It's the play. She's literally telling y'all right to your face, and it doesn't even matter because you're not going to do nothing about it.
America, when we knock on our neighbor's door, organize our communities, and elect Kamala Harris to the presidency on November 5th, we will send a loud message that the people of this nation will not go back. We choose a new path and open the door to a new day, one that is for the people and by the people. Thank you.
And going back to what? Because apparently we going back to the Biden administration, the Harris-Biden administration. So, ladies and gentlemen, that was AOC's speech. Let me read some of the super chats, and then we're going to go over to our favorite Our favorite, I don't even know what to call her. Our favorite loser, Hillary Clinton. We're going to go to her speech next, and then we're going to get to Biden. GM says, hey, Anton, will it be better to have a financial advisor manage my account for 1.5%, or should I just do it myself? Just do it yourself. Join Stock Club, learn everything that you need to learn, the 8 things that we look for in order to invest in a company. And then also on top of that, just invest in the S&P 500 or mutual funds until you learn everything that you can in order to really understand how to pick individual companies that you want to invest in. You don't need to give your stuff over to that. Just put it in the S&P 500 or a mutual fund, and you'll be fine. Don't nobody need no advisement manager. All they doing is doing what you already can do in Fidelity or something like that. Frederico says, patiently awaiting your mind-blowing expose on a super donor class and how they truly affect elections. Example, Peter Thiel, Reid Hoffman, etc. Thank you for the super chat. Also says, AOC can get it, and I ain't talking about my vote. Sir Darkness TV says, AOC is full of it. I know because no cap, she is my cousin. Jay Hunter Lee says, if AOC run for president, she'll be labeled as a black too. Ease or Eze says, question, is buying solid gold and silver a good investment for the future? I don't look at buying gold or silver as an investment. Yes, it does fluctuate over the period of time depending on inflation and what the current markets are doing. But buying gold or silver, a lot of times is just a hedge against inflation. That's not necessarily an investment. It doesn't return anything to you. So if you're just looking at it and saying, well, I want the price to appreciate over a period of time, then that's one thing. But I look at an investment versus holding your money or hedging your money against inflation as 2 different things. So I prefer to invest in companies and in real estate. Some people prefer to protect their assets by keeping it in precious metals. To each his own, but I don't look at it as an investment. So shout out to you. Ken Art says, oh, shoot, I think I missed a super chat. Hold on one second. Did I miss a super chat? Eze, Ken Art. Check out AOC's current net worth. Shout out to you. I appreciate you, Ken Art. Thank you for that super chat. Let me see. Frederico says, BlackRock is her ghostwriter, and the DNC is lying on her resume. Don't follow Kamala. Purple Haze says, AD, I watched most of this yesterday. Knowing you, be patient with what you see and hear a lot of the mudslinging. Of course, I'm going to break it down. The likes are atrocious. Get them up. Get the likes up, man. What are we talking about? After what I said in the beginning of the show, morning, Mr. Anton Daniels in the Millionaire Morning Show. Shout out to P. Shank. I appreciate you. Prince Elian says the Dems are the party of the wealthy. That is true. The majority of the U.S. billionaires and owners of big corporations are progressive and liberals, and they vote Democrat because they know that it's a separation in classes, and the Republicans are the ones that actually work for the middle class. It's crazy that people don't know that. A-Man01 says, AD, good morning. Your transparency is appreciated. I had to show her. She said, I don't know if you bought no property yesterday on the show. I said, oh, let me go ahead and pull that receipt up. Shelby Alvarez is in it. Shout out to Shelby, says, I learned so much watching this show. I also enjoy after hours. I'm curious what you think of stepmoms. Are they step crash dummies as well? That is the question, and nobody has ever asked me. If I am a woman, I'm not a woman, but if I am y'all, do you want to take care of another woman's kids? I can only speak to it from a man's perspective. I don't know what y'all feel like as women. I'm not telling y'all to pass up on good men, but I'm just telling you to ask yourself the question. If you are a woman, do you want to take care of another woman's kids? Small kids at that. Think about it. It's a thankless job. It's a thankless job. When that little girl say, you're not my mama. Let me continue on with the show. Shout out to y'all for the super chats. I appreciate y'all. All right, so let's get into our favorite loser who absolutely got decimated by Donald Trump in the 2016 election. Let's get into Hillary Clinton. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications.
Please welcome former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton.
Could y'all imagine if we had Hillary Clinton as our president? We had phenomenal 4 years, a phenomenal 4 years of Donald Trump in 2016 through 20. Could y'all imagine if we'd had to sacrifice that and put Hillary Clinton that was going to break the glass ceiling for women? Could y'all imagine if we had Hillary Clinton in the office for president of the United States of America? It would be insane, bro. I want to make sure I also acknowledge Jay Hunter Lee, but I'm going to get that in a second. Thank you, Jay Hunter Lee, for the super chat. I think I missed you. I'm going to try to skip through this so I can get to the good parts. Why are people so enamored with Hillary Clinton? Or is it just the people at the Democratic National Convention? Who is excited to see Hillary Clinton? Who is excited to meet Hillary Clinton? If y'all had a meet and greet and y'all had to pay $1,000 like y'all was paying Chris Brown, would y'all pay to see Hillary Clinton?
Thank you. Wow. There's a lot of energy in this room, just like there is across the country. Is happening in America. You can feel it.
I'm gonna speed this up, y'all.
Something we've worked for and dreamed of for a long time.
Yo, at 1.25 speed, it actually sounds like she's talking normal.
First, though, let's salute President Biden. He has been democracy's champion at home and abroad. He brought dignity, decency, and competence back to the White House.
I wonder if what Bill Clinton was thinking about that as he was getting head under his desk by Monica Lewinsky. Yo, listen, you know what I see when I see this, honestly, before I get to her speech? You know what I hear? I hear so much hypocrisy. She's sitting here and talking about bringing decency back to the White House. In my lifetime, I haven't really seen decency in the White House from the majority of the people that were serving, including from her own husband that destroyed the American economy by setting the precedent and setting the ball rolling as far as selling off American jobs, North American Free Trade Agreement, doing business with China, and in the housing crisis, being the architect, the manufacturer of the housing crisis. I wonder if, because her husband was the most disrespectful person inside of the White House, he was getting Did they not edit this speech before they let her go out here and say this? Come on, man. Come on, bro.
And he showed what it means to be a true patriot. Thank you, Joe Biden, for your lifetime of service and leadership. And now we are writing a new chapter in America's story. You know, my mother Dorothy was born right here in Chicago before women had the right to vote. That changed 104 years ago yesterday. Think about it. Tennessee became the final state to ratify the 19th Amendment to the Constitution. The state legislature was deadlocked until one lawmaker's mother, a widow who read 3 newspapers a day, sent a letter to her son. "No more delays," she wrote. "Give us the vote." And since that day, every generation has carried the torch forward. In 1972, a fearless black congresswoman named Shirley Chisholm, she ran for president. And her determination let me and millions of others dream bigger, not just because of who she was, but because of who she fought for. Working parents, poor children, the last, the least, and the lost. In 1984, I brought my daughter to see.
I'm not sleepy. I got good sleep last night. This is just at 1.25 speed. This is probably one of the boringest speeches from both conventions. At least AOC, you know, this is like, honestly, this is so boring. Give me a second. I'm gonna try to make it more entertaining. I'm gonna try to get y'all going.
Geraldine Ferraro, the first woman nominated for vice president. There was 2016, when it was the honor of my life to accept our party's nomination for president.
Have y'all thought about that for a second? Think about this. Y'all almost elected Hillary Clinton president of the United States of America, and here we are 8 years later talking about Kamala Harris. We almost elected a woman that got famous because of her husband. Because of her husband. Email scandal, ditto. We almost, as a country, we almost elected Hillary Clinton as president of the United States of America. That is insane. To think of how ignorant and stupid we were at that time. It was crazy. It was absolutely crazy.
And nearly 66 million Americans voted for a future where there are no ceilings on our dreams.
So she's basically talking about women.
Refused to give up on America. Millions marched. Many ran for office. We kept our eyes on the future. Well, my friends, the future is here. I wish my mother and Kamala's mother could see us. They would say, keep going. Shirley and Jerry would say, keep going.
Nothing like a good set of older white women past their prime sitting here advocating for women's rights in 2024 as though y'all not already having as many rights as y'all want, even to the point to where now y'all got the right to fight men inside of women's sports. Listen, this entire speech so far has been about women. It's entirely speaking to women. It's not even speaking to the Democratic people at all. It's 100% speaking to women. It's basically saying, women, vote for her because she's a woman. And the foundation of how we came to be was based off of women. And women are the ones that determine elections. And so this is why she's going to win any election. And I'm a part of the foundation of how we got to this point in the first place by getting 66 million votes because I'm a woman. And so women are ultimately the ones that's going to be the beneficiary of this. And Kamala Harris is the one that's going to break through. Kamala Harris is the one that's going to break. No policy, no anything as far as any of these speeches. The only thing that they're talking about 100% is identity politics.
Women fighting for reproductive health care are saying, keep going. Families building back.
Reproductive health care. Who's still fighting for reproductive health care? What right don't y'all have as women? Honestly, genuinely, I'm just genuinely curious. What right don't women have from a healthcare perspective, from a women's right? What else do y'all want? Y'all can literally become men now. You can do anything you want. There is no restrictions on you. There is nothing left for you to fight for or no other talking point with regard to what women need a right to do. You guys can do anything you want. The only thing you don't do is the men's jobs because y'all say that it's too hard, even though you advocated for being able to get equal pay for it. I don't see what the advocating is for.
Better lives, parents stretching to afford childcare, young people struggling to pay their rent. They're all asking us to keep going. Our hearts, let's send Kamala Harris and Tim Walz to the White House. You know, it's possible but not guaranteed. We have to fight for it and never, ever give up. There is always a choice. Do we push forward or pull back? Come together as we the people or split into us versus them. That's the choice we face in this election. Kamala has the character, experience, and vision to lead us forward.
I wonder what this would sound like if I did it on normal instead of 1.25.
I know her heart and her integrity. We both got our start as young lawyers, helping children who were abused and neglected. That kind of work changes a person. Those kids stay with you. Kamala carries with her the hopes of every child she protected, every family she helped, every community she served. So as president, she will always have our backs. Open the doors wide for good-paying jobs, and yes, she will restore abortion rights nationwide.
Question for all of the people in the chat. Question for all of the women that support abortion. What honestly, because as a man that has never been in a position and has never anticipated putting myself in a position to have to ask a woman to get an abortion, as a person that understands that we have literally tons of different options of contraception, as a person that also understands and preaches dick discipline, as a person that was very intentional with having my child, I genuinely got a question, because this is a huge talking point on the left. This is a huge talking point for Democrats in general. My question to you ladies is this: what is so awesome about fighting for aborting a baby? I as a man, I don't understand it. As a man that has never been in that position and know that I can control. See, I can't control where I was born, or I can't control that I was born as a black man, right? Or I can't control, most of the things in life you can't control. I can't control whether or not you like me or you dislike me, right? I can't control if somebody is a drunk driver and they coming down the street. What I'm genuinely in my core, in my heart, trying to understand is, what is, of all of the things that you can fight for as a woman, of all of the things that you can put your energy to as a woman, knowing that you control access to sex, as much as I am even saying, yo, listen, I control whether or not I want to bust you down. It takes two people to tango intentionally, and you have to literally open yourself up for somebody to come into you. And of course, we're not speaking about the extreme circumstances of rape or incest or any of that type of stuff. We understand what that is. We're speaking to people that are fighting tooth and nail, will put their lives on the line to be able to get in a position to be able to abort their child. What is so awesome? What is so awesome? And why do y'all dedicate so much of y'all time and all of y'all talking points and entire rallies, millions and billions of dollars to campaign for this? Why are y'all so obsessed with it? Why is it a thing? Kayla, I am so confused. Honest to God. I'm genuinely in my heart trying to understand, what is the obsession with it, and why is it such a thing? Like, why is it something that y'all fighting so hard for? Why do you want the right to abortion so much, even though it's not even something that the Republican side is advocating? They said that they don't agree with it, but leave it up to the states. The voters in the states are the ones that determine the course of whatever it is that you can do with your body. Cool, as far as aborting a baby. What is so awesome about it? I am confused, and I'm trying to understand it. I've been trying to understand it for years. I've researched why I should take a position on A or B, and as a 42-year-old man, I don't understand it. I don't understand why this is the fight. Then this is the sword that y'all decide that y'all want to lay on. And look at all of the people that's galvanized when she said it.
As a prosecutor, Kamala locked up murderers and drug traffickers. She will never rest in defense of our freedom and safety. Donald Trump fell asleep at his own trial, and when he woke up, he made his own kind of history, the first person to run for president with 34 felony convictions. In the Situation Room. As Vice President, Kamala sat in the Situation Room. We also know, as Vice President Kamala sat in the Situation Room and stood for America's values. I know what it takes, and I can tell you, as Commander-in-Chief, Kamala won't disrespect our military and our veterans. Here's our Medal of Honor recipients. She won't be sending love letters to dictators. She will defend democracy and our Constitution and will protect America from enemies, foreign and domestic. Think about it. The Constitution says the president's job is to take care that the laws be faithfully executed. Those are the
Does that also include at the border? Or did we forget about that part? What about them emails? Don't worry about it. We're going to get there. We're going to get there.
Words of our founders. Take care. Just look at the candidates. Kamala cares about kids and families, cares about America. Donald only cares about himself. 5 words that still guide her. Kamala Harris, for the people. Surprise, is it, that he is lying about Kamala's record? He's mocking her name and her laugh. Sounds familiar. So, no matter what the polls say, we can't let up. We can't get driven down crazy conspiracy rabbit holes. We have to fight for the truth. We have to fight for Kamala as she will fight for us. Because you know what? It still takes a village to raise a family, heal a country, and win a campaign. One of us, our energy, our talents, our dreams. We're not just electing a president, we're uplifting our nation. We're opening the promise of America wide enough for everyone. Together, we put a lot of cracks in the highest, hardest glass ceiling.
Oh, same speech that she said when she lost. We got a lot of cracks in the ceiling, and one day it's going to be a woman that busts through. It's the same speech, y'all. Let's get through this.
And tonight,
we're going to Biden next.
Tonight, so close to breaking through once and for all. I want to tell you what I see through all those cracks and why it matters for each and every one of us. What do I see? I see freedom. I see the freedom to make our own decisions about our health, our lives, our loves, our families.
So basically, the freedom to be able to abort a baby. Got it.
The freedom to work with dignity and prosper, to worship as we choose or not, to speak our minds freely and honestly. I see freedom from fear and intimidation, from violence and injustice, from chaos and corruption. I see the freedom to look our children in the eye and say, in America, you can go as far as your hard work and talent will take you, and mean it. And you know what? On the other side of that glass ceiling is Kamala Harris raising her hand and taking the oath of office as our 47th President of the United States. Because, my friends, when a barrier falls for one of us, it falls and clears the way for all of us. So for the next 78 days, we need to work harder than we ever have. We need to beat back the dangers that Trump and his allies pose to the rule of law and our way of life. Don't get distracted or complacent. Talk to your friends and neighbors. Volunteer. Be proud champions for the truth and for the country that we all love. I want my grandchildren and their grandchildren to know I was here at this moment, that we were here, and that we were with Kamala Harris every step of the way. This is our time, America. This is when we stand up. This is when we break through. The future is here. It's in our grasp. Let's go win it.
All right, so there you go. Hillary Clinton, the 2-time loser, still bitter about getting waxed by Donald Trump. And actually a 3-time loser, got waxed by Donald Trump, and then also got waxed by, what's her name? Monica Lewinsky? Don't worry about it. We going to Biden's speech next. We probably going to have to speed that up to 2 times because we know that man can't get a word out faster than, BJ is in the building and said, dog, these people scare me, man. Scare me too, man. Scare me too, man. Mark G is in the building and says, you should interview Tariq Nasheed. For what? Do me and him got an issue? Do we got a problem or something? I ain't never heard him say nothing negative about me. I don't review his stuff. I'm not even familiar with what it is he stand on, but shout out to him. I heard that he's a great content creator. I do also want to acknowledge, before I look at the rest of the super chats, I want to acknowledge one. Shout out to Jay Hunter Lee. Jay Hunter Lee says, if AOC run for president, she'll be labeled as black too. I know I did. I caught that one. Shout out to you. I appreciate you. And thank you to the moderators for sending me that. Shout out to your car. I appreciate you. Classy Beat says, we really should look up to Hillary. She's taken hundreds of L's and she still keeps on going and won't shut the F up. Truly powerful. Shout out to her. Ryan J in the building. Shout out to Ryan J. I appreciate you for the 10 ball. He also says, Bill Clinton went to Epstein Island. We don't know that for sure. We don't know what was going on. We can't go any accusations. Will Livingston says, we have new wars during Kamala and Joe's stay. So what are we talking about? We know what we're talking about. They could say anything. Jay Epstein didn't kill himself. I agree. Tack Smith says, if Trump was who they say he is, Hillary will be in a concentration camp already. Dallas D goes on to say, shout out to Dallas D, says, I just want to know why when women talk about health care for women, it only references abortion. How is red drumming your unborn child health care? It sounds good. I don't know what the obsession is with it. Mars says they got an abort clinic outside of the DNC. Pat Gigatainment says, ladies, a man can only do to you what you allow to happen to you. DJB says, the government has inserted itself as a player in the game of capitalism domestically while making all the rules. If you ever been a banker in Monopoly, you always slip yourself extra money. That's why the banker can't be a player in the game. Prince Elian says, folks need to understand abortion is not, nor has it ever been, a constitutional or legal right on any governmental level. It is a medical privilege. You said it. Shout out to Almanize. Almanize is in the building. Almanize says, nothing awesome about that. I have seen it done. Went with a friend in college. It's horrible. Still scarred, and that was almost 30 years ago. I don't even know what the process is. Like, it's going to make my skin, you know what I'm saying, itch and tingle. Night Jade says, put her tail back in the closet with her emails. Facts. I don't even know where they dug her up at. I didn't even know where she was still out here. Mr. Joe says, I see why Bill cheated on her. Jasmine 4517 says, these feminists not even attractive and always saying abortion's Anton is crazy. And they got Altimas. They all driving Altimas. Prince Elian says Dems keep their voters focused on just over broke. Jasmine Jackson, shout out to Jasmine Jackson, says they went to a black church. They went to a black church to prepare for these DNC speeches. They speak enthusiastically so they can fool the ignorant. Aborting babies is weird and wild. And shout out to Clay on the Beat. Clay on the Beat says, time to start investing in gold. That US dollar is going to be the cost of peso soon. No, I'd rather invest in real estate. I think that the US dollar is going to be fine. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. All right, y'all. I'm going to keep reading super chats throughout the show, but we got to get into Biden. All right. So Biden's speech was relatively chock full of longness and long drawn, dramatic pauses. So I'm going to speed it up and we're going to hopefully get through this yawn fest. All right. I need y'all to see. Look at this guy. This guy looks like he's completely out of it. He looks like he's about to cry, to be honest with you. But we're going to speed this up.
Thank you.
And remember, guys, this is the guy, as he gives this speech, and I have not seen the speech yet. I'm going to read those super chats shortly. As he gives his speech, I want y'all to remember that this was possibly going to be your next president again for a second term. So remember that, all right?
I tell you what, to my dearest daughter Ashley, God love you, you're incredible. Thank you for the introduction and for being my courageous heart, along with Hunter and our entire family.
Hunter?
And especially our rock,
Who's your Hunter?
She still leaves me both breathless and speechless. Everybody knows her. I love her more than she loves me. She walks down the stairs, and I still get that going, boom, boom, boom. You all will know me. No, I'm not kidding. Let's give a special round of applause to our First Lady, Jill Biden. The middle and the end. And I love you all. Folks, let me ask you. Are you ready to vote for freedom? Are you ready to vote for democracy and for America? Let me ask you, are you ready to elect Kamala Harris and Tim Walz, President and Vice President of the United States? My fellow Democrats, my fellow Americans, nearly 4 years ago, in winter, on the steps of the Capitol, on a cold January day, I raised my right hand and I swore an oath to you and to God to preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution and to faithfully execute the office of the President of the United States. In front of me was the city surrounded by the National Guard. Behind me, a Capitol just 2 weeks before had been overrun by a violent mob. What I knew then, from the bottom of my heart, that I knew now, there is no place in America for political violence. None. I wasn't looking to the past. I was looking to the future. I spoke of the work at hand, the moment we had to meet. It was, as I told you then, a winter of peril and possibility. Of peril and possibility. We're in the grip of a once-in-a-century pandemic, historic joblessness, a call for racial justice long overdue, clear and present threats to our very democracy.
You talking about Black Lives Matters? Wait. You talking about the pandemic? The very thing that enabled states to then influence what was going on in the election by basically locking down and telling people what they can and can't do and forcing people to take the jab. You talk about that? Are we talking about people marching for a Marxist organization that was exposed by Candace Owens for being a finessing group? The very group that said that they wanted to make sure that they empowered the community but gave nothing into the communities that they took donations for? The ones that y'all marched for and they shut y'all businesses down. Remember this. I want y'all to remember this because I remember the pandemic a little bit differently than you guys remember it because I wound up putting on a hot dog suit and walking around and doing crazy things just to keep myself entertained and make sure that I gave y'all good content, okay? So let's remember that. But I also want y'all to remember this. That the same group that they were advocating for, and he's talking about as far as racial justice, I want y'all to remember that y'all couldn't go into the restaurants. You couldn't go into your healthcare provider. You couldn't go to work inside of elevators. You can only do 2 people inside of an elevator because they wanted y'all to be 6 feet apart. But they made sure that they allowed for these people to march together and infect each other, supposedly, with the vid during these marches. And they let y'all burn down y'all own businesses and y'all own stores and y'all own auto zones and y'all own Wendy's and then breach fences and go into neighborhoods that was supposed to be fenced off so that y'all couldn't go over there and do something that y'all wasn't supposed to do. Let's remember what really happened and that these different states, the Democratic states, the blue states that was run by Democratic governors, kept their states shut down and then also influenced the election, in my opinion, in favor of Joe Biden. And then also on top of that, Republican states largely were the beneficiary of a lot of people deflecting or deferring from Democratic states and moving into Florida and Texas. And they still running from California and all of these Democratic states right now. They still running away. Everybody ran to Nashville. Everybody ran to Florida. Everybody ran to Texas. See, I remember a much different America during 2020 and 2021 than they remember it. I remember a whole nother America. But let him get it off. This is his farewell speech, a bitter farewell speech.
Thank you.
Funny how we rewrite history, man.
And yet I believe then And I believe now that progress was and is possible. Justice is achievable. And our best days are not behind us, they're before us.
They're ahead of us.
Now it's summer. The winter has passed. And with a grateful heart, I stand before you now on this August night to report that democracy has prevailed. Democracy has delivered. And now democracy must be preserved. You've heard me say it before. We're facing an inflection point. One of those rare moments in history when the decisions we make now will determine the fate of our nation and the world for decades to come. That's not hyperbole, I mean it literally. We're in a battle for the very soul of America.
Thank you, CEO Steve.
I
I'm going
ran
to read
for
that
president
shortly.
in 2020 because of what I saw in Charlottesville in August of 2017. Extremists coming out of the woods, carrying torches, their veins bulging from their necks, carrying Nazi swastikas, and chanting the same exact anti-Semitic bile that was heard in Germany in the early 30s. Neo-Nazis, white supremacists, and the Ku Klux Klan, so emboldened by a president then in the White House that they saw as an ally. They didn't even bother to wear their hoods. Hate was on the march in America. Old ghosts and new garments, stirring up the oldest divisions, stoking the oldest fears, giving oxygen to the oldest forces that they long sought to tear apart America.
Now remember this, y'all, when they don't have any policy to stand on, because for some reason I've never been worried about any man in a hood except for one that got a black hoodie on that's trying to break into my car and steal my hood caps. The reality is this. When they don't have anything else to stand on, they play on your emotions and they try to make everything a race war. When they don't have anything else to stand on, if you ever go to a Trump rally, especially as a black woman or a black man, you will be loved and embraced and looked at as a celebrity. They're going to be trying to figure out who you are and how it is that they can support you and be trying to give you a back rub. When they have nothing else to stand on, they're going to stand on the KKK, the Ku Klux Klan, and all of this stuff. And I don't know if y'all really know, but the KKK was actually the organization of the Democratic Party. They supported the Democratic Party. They love Democrats. When they have nothing else to stand on, it's always going to be, in the color of your skin, and the KKK came out with no hoods on. Okay.
In the process, a young woman was killed. When I contacted her mother, I asked about what happened. She told me. When the president was asked what he thought had happened, Donald Trump said, and I quote, "There are very fine people on both sides. My God." That's what he said. That is what he said and what he meant. That's when I realized, had listened to the admonition of my dead son, I could not stay on the sidelines. So I ran. But I ran with a deep conviction. In America, I know and believe in an America where honesty, dignity, decency still matter. An America where everyone has a fair shot and hate has no safe harbor. Where the fundamental creed of this nation, that all of us are created equal, is still very much alive. And a broad coalition of Americans joined with me. 81 million voters voted for us, more than any time in all of history. Because of all of you in this room and others, we came together in 2020 to save democracy.
We regret it.
Forward, not going back. To stand against hate and violence in all its forms. To be a nation where we not only live with but thrive on diversity. Demonizing no one, leaving no one behind, and becoming the nation that we profess to be. I also ran. To rebuild the backbone of America, the middle class.
Then why y'all didn't do it? You had 3.5 years to leave your mark on this world, and you was trying to get another 4 years and another 8 years for Kamala Harris, if that's what you advocate for and that's what you stand for, here's my question to him and the Democratic Party. If that's what you was doing, then why didn't you do it? Why is this party always talking about what they're going to do after they had the opportunity to do what they was going to do? Why is the party always talking about what they're going to do after they had the opportunity to do what they was going to do? What do you mean we're going to rebuild the... You had 3.5 years. The middle class is in shambles. It was thriving in 2016 and 17 and 18 and 19. It's in shambles. Dog, do you know that I did so well during the Trump administration? I did so well that I retired in 2019 at 37 years old. That's how well I did. I ran up the bag so hard in every single facet of my life, in my businesses, in corporate America, in my investments. Everything was booming and thriving that I decided to retire from corporate America at 37 years old. In 2019, the video was still up on my channel. I walked away and I said, you know what? I got enough money to where I ain't never have to worry about another thing in my life. Real estate booming, everything booming. We good over here. That's the truth. And we never knew that the pandemic was coming. We was like, you know what? Life is good. Daughter is set. Life is all set. We gonna leave a lot of money. We gonna be good. We good for the rest of our life. I boomed. I thrived. I absolutely capitalized. Y'all should have capitalized too. If y'all didn't capitalize off of Trump's presidency, then you absolutely messed up. You messed up. You should have really took advantage of what was going on.
I made a commitment to you that I'd be a president for all Americans, whether you voted for me or not. We have done that. Studies show the major bills we have passed actually delivered more to red states than blue, because the job of the president is to deliver to all of America. Because of you,
get it out, big dog.
And I'm not exaggerating, because of you, we've had one of the most extraordinary 4 years of progress ever, period.
This is the biggest cap I've ever heard of in my life.
When I say we, I mean Kamala and me.
Okay, cool. So now we can attribute everything that's happened in this economy, and we can't say, well, she can take the wins and not the losses. Now that he said it, now that it came out of his mouth, he said that we both are responsible for the things that's happened over the last 3.5 years. Cool.
Just think about it.
Remember that.
COVID no longer controls our lives.
COVID.
We've gone from economic crisis to the strongest economy in the entire world. Record 16 million new jobs. Record small business growth. Record high stock market. Record high 401ks. Wages up and inflation down, way down, and continuing to go down.
What reality is they living in? What economy are they looking at?
The smallest racial wealth gap in 20 years. And yes, we both know we have more to do, but we're moving in the right direction.
This is crazy.
More Americans have peace of mind.
I need my hoodie for this one. I usually don't do the hoodies.
Have health insurance today than ever before in American history. And after, as a young senator beginning to fight for 50 years to give Medicare the power to negotiate low prescription drug prices, we finally beat Big Pharma. And guess who cast the tie-breaking vote? Vice President, soon-to-be President Kamala Harris. And now it's the law of the land. Instead of paying $400 a month for insulin, seniors with diabetes will pay $35 a month. The law we passed already includes, starting in January, every senior's total prescription cost can be capped at $2,000 no matter how expensive the drugs they have. And what we don't focus on, and our Republican friends don't seem to understand, our reforms don't just save seniors money, they save the American taxpayers money. You know what we just passed saves? It saved $160 billion over the next decade. That's not hyperbole. It's because Medicare no longer has to pay those exorbitant prices to the big pharma.
He had a brain fart.
Well, thank you, Kamala, too. Look, world without the best infrastructure in the world. Donald Trump promised Infrastructure Week every week for 4 years, and he never built a damn thing.
Literally blocked at every single turn. So much so that he proposed to possibly even get Mexico to help pitch in to build the wall. They had a private donor network, and they started to take the wall down, and Congress blocked them on every single front. You know, the gaslighting and the lies that goes into putting these Democratic National Conventions together is wild to me. And not
now,
only
because
that,
what Kamala and I have done, remember we were told we couldn't get it done. Remember when we came into office, we couldn't get anything passed? But right now, we're giving America an infrastructure decade, not week. We're modernizing.
do y'all know what's in that infrastructure bill?
Our ports, our airports, our trains, our buses. We're removing every lead pipe from schools and homes so every child can drink clean water. We're providing affordable high-speed internet for every American, no matter where they live, not unlike what Roosevelt did with electricity. And so much more. We are uniting the country. We're growing our economy. We're improving our quality of life. And we're building a better America. How can we be the strongest nation in the world?
I'm going to try to let them speak as long as possible without interrupting them, because I want to actually try to get the majority of the speech so we can get to the next part of the show.
Without leading the world in science and technology. After years of importing 90% of our semiconductor chips from abroad, which America invented those chips. Our Chips and Science Act meant that private companies from around the world are now investing literally tens of billions of dollars to build new chip factories right here in America.
We're giving them tens of billions of dollars of tax money in order to incentivize them to do it.
And over that period,
we're in a proxy war with Taiwan, and one of the reasons why we continue to negotiate on the border in order to fund these proxy wars, and that's why we continue to send money over there.
Tens of thousands of jobs, and many of those jobs in the so-called fabs, the buildings that make the chips that's being constructed now. And guess what? The average salary in those fabs, size of a football field, will be over $100,000 a year, and you don't need a college degree. And so many electeds out there. American manufacturing is back. Where the hell to say we wouldn't lead the world in manufacturing? 800,000 new manufacturing jobs.
That's all cap. It's 100% cap. And as a matter of fact, I'm looking at Stellantis literally selling their factories to BYD, having layoffs. GM is laying off employees. The tech sector is laying off employees. The jobs that they're creating are minimum wage jobs, but you can definitely go and get a job over at McDonald's over in California and make you $20 an hour. It's so messed up, man. It's so messed up. Ask anybody searching for a job in the market today what it's like.
Made sure they'd go abroad to get the cheapest labor. We used to import products and export jobs. Now we export American products and create American jobs right here in America, where jobs belong. With every new job, with every new factory, pride and hope is being brought back to communities throughout the country that were left behind. You know you're from it, many of you. You know what it's like when that factory closed, where your mother, your father, your grandmother, grandfather worked. And now you're back, providing once again, proving that Wall Street didn't build America, the middle class built America, and unions built the middle class. And that's why I'm proud to have been the first president to walk a picket line.
Just doing anything for votes.
And be labeled the most pro-union president in history, and I accept it. Because when unions do well, we all do well. You got. Look, remember we told we couldn't get anything done because we couldn't get anything done in the Congress? Well, with your support, we passed the most significant climate law in the history of mankind.
All bad.
Over $370 billion. Cutting carbon emissions in half by 2030. Launching a climate corps, similar to AmeriCorps and Peace Corps, creating tens of thousands of jobs for young people of the future who are going to make sure this continues. Creating hundreds of thousands of jobs in clean energy for American workers, including the IBEW installing 500,000 charging stations all across America.
You know who he tapped? Because I don't see those charging stations, and they allocated a lot of those monies, and those charging stations was not working. You know who he tapped to continue to do that? You know who he tapped? Elon Musk. Because basically all he did was negotiate for other auto manufacturers to be able to use those same charging stations, which is why they're now forcing EVs down y'all throat. Is now why you have Dodge that literally killed the Challenger and the Charger or whatever, and now you have a piped-in sound that comes from speakers. And I'm not saying that anything is wrong with EVs, because I actually like EVs along with gas-powered vehicles, but now you have no choice. So now capitalism is basically being controlled by the Biden and the Harris administration, and they're forcing these stupid EVs on you.
And in the process, reducing carbon emissions. And we're seeing it. We're seeing to it that the first beneficiaries of environmental initiatives are those fence-lined communities that have been smothered by the legacy of pollution. Louisiana and Delaware, Route 9. All the factories, all those chemical factories are right next to the poorest neighborhoods. They're the ones we're going to bring back. And how? How can we be the greatest nation in the world without the best education system in the world? Donald Trump and the Republican friends, they not only can't think, they can't read very well. Seriously, think about it. Look at their project 2025. You want to do?
I'm about to go ahead and cut this in a minute, because honestly, honest to God, all this is just lies and propaganda. All it is just word salad and remixing it to make it seem whatever it is that you want to say. We all know for a fact, and they playing on people's emotions, and I'm so tired. There's nothing more irritating and aggravating than seeing somebody come in my comments and say, Anton, what about Project 2025? What about it? They don't have nothing to do with Donald Trump, and he already, in the very early stages of this thing being mentioned, said, they ain't got even nothing to do with me. Why they keep trying to put this on me? They don't want to acknowledge Agenda 47, because Agenda 47 that's on his website is actually good and is real. But people are saying Project 2025, Project 2025. If you read the 900-page document, which most people haven't, 99.9% of the people that is mentioning it haven't even went to the website and read the document. To be honest with you, it's not even crazy. It's not even crazy. I read it. I went through it. I even gave the summary and the talking points on a live stream on the Millionaire Morning Show. But this is all propaganda. This is all messy. This is just silly nonsense. Let's see if we got anything else to get out of this, and then we'll go from there.
Education. Well, during the pandemic, Kamala and I helped states and cities get back their schools back open. And we gave public school teachers a raise.
Is that why they all quitting?
We created apprenticeships with businesses and communities, putting students on a path to a good paying job, whether or not they go to college. And by the way, we're making college a hell of a lot more affordable. Increasing Pell Grants by $900. Over $15 billion to HBCUs. Minority service education, including Hispanic institutions and tribal colleges. We kept our commitment to provide more student relief than ever by lifting the burden of helping millions of families so they could get married, start a family, buy a home, and begin to build family wealth and contribute to the community and grow our economy. It's not costing us, it's creating more wealth. We fundamentally transformed how our economy grows, from the middle out and the bottom up instead of the top down. You know, my dad used to say there wasn't a whole hell of a lot to drop down on my kitchen table at the end of the month. I come from a basic middle-class family.
What is he saying? What is he saying? Somebody, let me slow it down so I can see if I can get it.
House, 4 kids, a grandpa living with us, decent neighborhood, but never a penny to spare. And look, that top-down notion never worked.
I can't do it.
A lot of Democrats didn't think it worked, thought it worked, but it doesn't.
What is he saying? What the Hold on. Check it out.
A lot of Democrats didn't think it worked, thought it worked, but it doesn't.
Is this y'all? This is the person.
A lot of Democrats didn't think it worked, thought.
Slow down, Joe. Pronounce your words. Chew your food. Hey, Jill, can you chew Joe's food for him and give it to him? Then you got to go up there. All right, take it out of your mouth, give it to him, put it in his mouth. Jill, Mabel, Ethel, Dorothy, can you chew Joe's food for him and I can't even fumble my words the way that he's fumbling his words. Hey, Mabel, can you chew Joe's food for him and put it in his mouth? Somebody get this man a quilt. I think we've seen enough from Joe. This is a long speech. It's going nowhere. Shout out to Joe and his farewell speech. The most successful politician and his ability to last for 50 plus years and getting taxpayer dollars. Shout out to Joe Biden. God bless him. God bless America. And his farewell speech, a bitter farewell it was. Let me read, feed him like a bird. Let me read these super chats and then we're going to continue with the show. Shout out to my girl Molly. She was cooking up yesterday with the bucket hat looking like AALIYAH in the building. Hard Heads in the building says, this is paying for itself. Thank you, Hard Heads. Turner the Learner says, let me see what Turner the Learner said. Turner the Learner says, when they are talking about reproductive rights, they won't give rights to children without a parent's permission or consent. Interesting. GM says, what's the best S&P? What do you mean, what's the best S&P? What's the best S&P? Investing in the S&P 500 is investing in the top 500 companies in the S. That is what the S&P 500 is. Listen, send me an email. I'll give you a little bit of insight and make sure y'all join Stock Club. I'll go over it. Ryan J says, check out this bizarre rapping style used by me, the B.I.G. You put your key in. Money will be seeing. We'll reach the ceiling. Yeah. My calico Bangkok. Y'all know nothing about that. That's above y'all. That's way above your pay grade. Biden says sounds hypernormal at 1.5 speed. Shout out to you. I appreciate you. This is the most alive he's ever looked. J Dub says, I'm surprised you didn't review the part of the DNC where the lady was doing an interpretation for Professor X. It was very bizarre start. No, I didn't. I don't know about that. Send it to me. CEO Steve is in the building, says, my friend, a medical coder, sees women denied abortions and dying in childbirth in some states. I prioritize national security and the economy, so I'll vote Trump, but she'll vote Kamala for this issue. Well, shout out to your friend. Tell her to come talk to me. I need to understand it. Tell her I want somebody to explain to me why abortionist makes the most sense. And I will have a conversation with him on a platform. Isn't the National Guard outside of the DNC? Yes, they are. Shout out to Debt Free Dad in the building. Says, read the affidavit against the DC council member. I did an attorney reaction, PPP fraud, snitching audio, video footage, and a councilman is asking for an extra $5K to give his girlfriend money for a girls trip. Listen, we're going to get to that. We get into that very much next, I believe. We going into that next. But Ardilla Squirrel 88, shout out to Ardilla, says Biden forgets about speaking at Robert Byrd's funeral. Clay on the beat in the building says this is a joke. They are really trying to convince people that they have new policies to fix the economy. I don't know how people are forgetting that they ruined the economy. Shout out to UKD in the building says the illegals are the new middle class. That's facts. Ryan J says progress my Prince Elian, I'm trying to stop cussing as much. Prince Elian is in the building, says, I'm calling it now. Dems are going to force Biden to step down as president before November to guarantee Harris will become the first woman president. Project Kill JR. I will be joining Bag Chasers this week. Shout out to the new Chasers. Make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. Daniel Harris says the IRA Act was supposed to release funds to Americans to help them purchase high efficiencies HVAC units. Still hasn't been released yet. Project says, okay, shout out to you. I appreciate you. Clay on the Beat says, trying to make everyone forget the Democrats destroyed what the Democrats destroyed in 3.5 years is crazy work. And then last but not least, B. Whalen says, just keep smiling, it's contagious. Shout out to B. Whalen, I appreciate you, baby, and thank you for supporting the platform. Continuing to read the super chats throughout the show. Let's get more into the thick of things and we will continue to cover the Democratic National Convention. So as the speakers, I think Michelle Obama and Barack Obama is scheduled to speak. Let me look at the DNC lineup. Give me a second. Who's expected to speak and when? Let's see. Tuesday. Okay, so tonight we got Obama and Governor J.B. Pritzker and Doug Emhoff. Wednesday we have Tim Walz. I think Brandon Johnson spoke last night too. He was boring. But I believe that Michelle Obama and Barack Obama is speaking tonight. So I'll be covering those probably tomorrow. Wonder if I should cover it on After Hours. I'm going to cover it tomorrow. We're going to go over Barack Obama and Michelle Obama. Wednesday, they're doing a fight for our freedoms with Tim Walz. So Tim Walz and Nancy Pelosi is supposed to speak, preceded by former President Clinton. And then on Thursday, obviously, you got Kamala Harris speaking. So we're going to go over her whole speech also. So I'll be covering the Democratic National Convention all week. But in the meantime, before we get over into continuing to cover the Democratic National Convention, we have to bring Trayon White. Trayon. Shout out to Trayon. Do y'all know who Trayon White is? He's a DC council member that was making $100,000+ a year. But guess what we found out about Democrats and their fight for the people? We found out that these people, and I want to show you who Trayon White, what he dressed like in order to inspire people. I want to show y'all Trayon White. Let me get that. They got him on camera in the car because some people was like, oh, no, it's a conspiracy theory against him. Let me see if I can get a picture. The picture that I want for Trayon White. All right, he's out there in his kente cloths. They arrested him in his house coat. He often wears red, white, and blue. Oh, this is the picture that I'm looking like. Not that one. That one is a little bit pixelated. I just want y'all to know who y'all dealing with and why identity politics do not work. Let me say that again for the people in the back. Identity politics do not work. This might be the best picture that we can get of this. So this is Trayon. All right, Trayon. Also, with his Black Panther outfit on, Trayon with his Black Panther outfit on is getting caught up and they saying that he accepted bribes. And he often dresses like this in order to evoke emotion from the people to know that he's for the people, okay? So keep that in mind. Keep that picture in mind as you go through this story because we have to make sure that we hold everybody accountable for what it is that they do. Now, I briefly covered this on the Anton Daniels channel when the story first broke. I briefly covered this yesterday, but I want to make sure that I bring him to the front of the congregation. Now that he's appeared in court and people have been able to actually pull the documentation to see exactly what he was arrested for. And keep in mind also this, he was arrested in his penthouse.
Our crew was there as Ward 8 Councilmember Trayon White left the D.C. federal court after being charged with bribery. Thank you for joining us this afternoon. I'm Simone D'Alba. Prosecutors allege White agreed to accept $156,000 in cash payments to pressure D.C. government employees to extend contracts for 2 companies to provide violence intervention services in the district.
Violence intervention services. You know, I meant to bring this up in our debate yesterday, but I got so caught up talking about these chicks with the middle part bust down. Violence intervention services. That's what he was focused on, making sure that he brought to the community. But it just so happened to be a bribe that was taking place in order for him to bring that. So remember when y'all was saying defund the police and we needed to get to the core root of the problem? Well, guess what? Trayon was going to bring forth violence intervention services to get to the root cause of the issue. Just got caught up with a little bit of a cash payment.
This afternoon, we have team coverage on this high-profile case. Our Lionel Donovan is in Ward 8 with new reaction from the community on this charge. But first, let's begin with our Rafael Sanchez Cruz. He was inside the courtroom when that charge was read. Rafa, walk us through the details of the investigation.
I'm curious, Rafa.
Yeah, Simone, the nearly 40-page criminal documents have photos like this one, which show Councilmember Trayon White allegedly accepting envelopes with cash inside, anywhere from $5,000 to $15,000. Now, the FBI says they have White accepting these bribes on video. Now, the 40-year-old was released today by federal judge Jean.
Look what he was arrested in. Look what he was arrested in. And look at the person that's sitting next to him. The person that's sitting next to him got their Gucci bag, got his Kente, his Kuta Kente robe on, and he was sitting in his penthouse with his Tesla outside right after he was getting out there and he had accepted all of this money. Now, remember this. Think about it like this. He was only arrested and caught by the FBI on camera. He's being charged with bribery because he accepted $156,000 in bribes. That's that we know of. Why would they go after him in the first place? And what is it that he accepted that we don't even know of, that we can't even prove? Because remember, this guy has been in office for 7 to 8 years. 7 to 8 years. These lifetime council members and these Congress members and stuff been in the House for 7 to 8 years in these positions, making hundreds of thousands of dollars as a city council person in DC, hundreds of thousands of dollars. I believe that his salary was somewhere between $154,000 and $174,000, $176,000 per year. Per year. And if it ain't for the FBI catching these people, where would we be? He just won his primary. He was set to be reelected again, and he won his primary again because he was going to continue to be in serving the community. He had just got done doing a fundraiser. He was over there helping the kids. He had a I Stand with Trayon and all of this stuff. Meanwhile, he making sure that he get bribe money so he can send his little hood rat chick on vacation for her girls trip.
Michael Harvey, and he was covered by supporters as he left court this afternoon. Some supporters yelling that they loved him as he was placed in a car. As the car departed, they chanted Ward 8. So how did White...
And it's nothing, and I'm going to let this whole thing play, but I just got to say this. I got to give my thoughts before we get there because I'll forget it. And so sometimes I got to write it down to make sure. This is why the community is trash. As this guy literally is on camera accepting bribes to give y'all services that we know of and to send his chick on girls trips, walking around in Wakanda Forever gear. The black community is saying, free Trayon, and Ward 8, Ward 8, Ward 8, Ward 8. We love you, Trey. We love you, Trey. These are the people of the community. Listen to what I'm saying, y'all. You don't even have to be on the up and up. The bar is so freaking low. The bar is so low in the community. Me and Cam last night caught the 3rd degree for actually pulling ourselves up literally by our bootstraps. Trayon White. It's Trey White. I stand with Trayon. Trey is literally selling your community out the same way that they've been doing for years, voting on identity politics. And y'all say, we love you, Trey. Ward 8. Why you think that I'm not trying to fix the community no more? Y'all voted for this. Y'all wanted this. This is what y'all continue to rock with. What am I supposed to do when y'all want self-inflicted wounds and y'all won't even hold yourselves accountable? What is wrong with us? We are a cursed culture. The culture is cursed. It's cursed. It's cursed, y'all. Save yourself. If you just so happen to be the one to die, ooh, get the dirt off my shoulder. If you just so happen to be the one that dodged the curse and pull yourself up by your bootstraps, don't go back. Never return back. Never return back before you get them demons on you. Because you know demons like to jump. Woo! They do the long jump. Soon as you hug somebody, be careful who you hug. I know y'all think that it's a joke, but I'm trying to tell you, be careful who you give your energy to. Listen. We fighting against spirituality and principalities at this point. And the world is already predicted to be doomed. And so you're going to have to enjoy it and save who you can, when they decide to go on this journey with you. Be careful who you hug. Before we get into this, be careful who you hug. Them spirits can be on you. I know you don't believe in it, but I'm telling you and I'm warning you. Be careful who you shake hands with. Be careful what spirits that you let into your house. Be careful the type of people that you let around your family. Be careful about the people that you decide that you want to embrace and you kiss. Be careful who you open up your legs to, ladies, because you're letting spirits inside of you that is not going to be conducive for your lifestyle. Be careful. Let me say it again for the people in the back. Be careful who you open up your legs to when you decide to give a child to. You are literally cursing your child with this culture that we embrace that we know is not best for us. You heard it here first. You heard it here first. I'm telling you. I know you don't believe it, but I warned you. Don't act like I didn't tell you. Now that you're going to have to deal with it.
Get caught up in this FBI investigation. Court documents say a company owner in D.C. was facing federal charges for stealing pandemic relief funds and agreed to disclose all of his illegal doings in exchange for a plea deal. The person agreed to work with the FBI and recorded the interactions with White. The Ward 8 council member allegedly accepted 4 cash payments of $35,000 each between June and August. In exchange, White would use his position as a council member to pressure government employees at the Office of Neighborhood Safety and Engagement and the Department of Youth and Rehabilitation Services to extend several DC contracts. Those contracts were valued at $5.2 million.
Check this out. While we sitting there and they finessing, Byron Turner says, I really hate you people who stand with either party. We hate you too. We hate you too. What you think? You think you special? Guess what? Same energy back to you, big dog. We hate you too. We hate you with a passion. I hate who my God hate. I hate you too. Absolutely. And don't sit here and tell me, no, it's not okay to hate as a Christian. Yes, you can. I hate pedophiles. I hate murderers. I hate killers. I hate people that hate you. You hate me, I hate you back. Now what? I hate you too. Yo, no solution having ass.
$1 million and were intended to provide violence intervention services here in the district. Now, White chairs the Committee on Recreation, Libraries, and Youth Affairs, which oversees several agencies, including DYRS. In the recorded interactions, he mentions several times how he's trusted when it comes to these kinds of issues. Now, these court documents also indicate that it was White himself who suggested to the company owner that they needed to expand and try to get contracts in other areas like housing and mental health. He called housing a, quote, cash cow. Now, the person working with the FBI says that he also gave White other types of gifts, like he was able to take him to gifts like trips to the Dominican Republic as well as Las Vegas.
Let me guess. Hey, listen, this is literally the passport bro and I'm black and I got money starter kit. Okay? 2 trips that you take when you black and you starting to get money starter kit. They first go to Dominican Republic. Listen, first trip out of the country, most black people go to 2 places. Us up in here in Michigan, the first trip that we ever took out of the country was to Canada because we live right across the street from Canada. The first trip out of the country is to 2 places. They got to go to the Dominican Republic and they got to go to Mexico, somewhere in Mexico, probably Tulum, Cancun. Hey, yo, we got our passport. Where my passport's at? Hey, yo, we got our passport. Tulum, here we, hey, Sasua. Yeah. We got money starter kit, y'all. Got money starter kit. Oh, well, first we got to get a Charger Hellcat or we got to get us a Tesla. Next thing we got to do is we got to go to the Dominican Republic and we got to go to Sasua and we got to go to Mexico somewhere. Ask your homegirl where she going on. I'm going to Vegas, and I'm going to the Dominican Republic.
White could face
y'all done played out the Dominican Republic. So much so to where when I decided that I needed to take my daughter to a Taekwondo competition, I said, yeah, I'm going to go to Dominican. Oh, what part are you going to Dominican? We go to Sisua? No, man, I'm taking my daughter to the Dominican Republic. What are you talking about? Oh, make sure you hit Sisua on your way back, though. Spirit got a flight going to the Dominican Republic. Non-stop. You can go non-stop from multiple different places in the country on a Spirit flight. Spirit flies directly to Sisua.
Maximum of 15 years in prison. He also might have to pay 3 times the amount.
And then they're gonna put up a meme that say, "Don't catch feelings, catch flights." hey, then they're gonna put up an Instagram post of them in Sisua. And the caption is gonna read, "Don't catch feelings, catch flights." Hey, you get this? You get my good side? I don't catch feelings, I catch flights, baby. I'm not to finish this story. Let me let this play out, man.
Say he's due back here in federal court on September 19th. Simone?
I mean, his arrest, the charges, shocking. Of course, he is poised to win a third term in November, and that election is just about 60 days away. Rafa, thanks for your reporting tonight. We appreciate it. Well, moments after the case against Councilmember White was unsealed, Mayor Muriel Bowser spoke to reporters at an unrelated event. Here's what she had to say.
Well, I mean, I could state the obvious, but so maybe I will. It's very troubling. It's very disappointed. I'm sure that constituents across the city, but especially in Ward 8, are very disappointed. People need representation. They need people that go down to the Wilson building and put them first and fight for them. And I know that I speak for them in my disappointment about it. And I want to, anytime any part of the government is questioned in this way, it distracts from the very important work that has to be done. If we are talking about offices that are focused on keeping people out of harm's way, preventing violence, especially with our focus on alternatives to law enforcement strategies, which we're very committed to. This also puts those...
All right, baby. I got you. But the fact of the matter is, again, Trayon White, he was in a car talking with a federal agent, accepting bribes and selling out his community. And so I don't hear nobody from the black community holding him accountable. I don't see nobody coming to the forefront of the congregation and saying, we don't stand with Trey no more. I can't believe it. We need to hold you accountable. Where's Umar Johnson? Where's Umar? Is Umar somewhere? Can Umar please speak to Trey? And why nobody in the black community, all of the blackity blacks that want to stand with Trey, why ain't nobody holding him accountable for that? Anyways, neither here nor there. Let me read a couple of these super chats and then we're going to move on with the show. Because we got a couple more things that we want to cover. Actually, you know what? I think I'm going to just cover one more thing and I'm going to let y'all go. Because we already passed the 2.5 hour mark. So I'm going to save the last thing for tomorrow and we're going to have that conversation. Because I did give y'all a little bit of a speech today. Solution Trucking Channel says, my guy dipped out of the stream last night when Q started wilding. I don't know what you're talking about. I have no clue what's going on. Paul G. Pusha P says, Anton, I've been a Patreon member for over a year now. How can I get a coaching call? Email me at antondaniels413@gmail.com. I do all business through Gmail. And then you can send me a message on Patreon also. But if you're looking to book a coaching call, then you got to send it to me on Gmail. Akaya says, got 7 summaries done on stocks using the 8 fundamentals. Great value from Stock Club. Can't wait till the next. I'm curious on your opinion of Leaps. Stock Club is on Friday. We're doing Stock Club Friday after the show. I will post the link in the Patreon and we're going to run it up. Jay Hunter Lee in the building says, I know Trayon White personally. I was his next door neighbor. I watched him grow up as a child. I did community work with him. I hope he can get through this. Well, he going to have to pay for for robbing people. Pics of him putting the envelope in his pocket. That's unfortunate. He'll get through it. He just ain't going to be able to continue to finesse the community. He got to pay for his crimes, just like all the rest of us that do crime and get caught, because some of us ain't get caught in these streets. Anyways, last but not least, we're going to talk about one more thing, and then we're going to push this last thing over into tomorrow. And we got, what do we got tonight? After hours. We got after hours tonight. Anyways, just one more thing. I want to spend 10 minutes talking about this, and then I'm going to get y'all on y'all way. General Motors, Cisco, and multiple different companies are also still announcing layoffs. Hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Let's dig into it, y'all.
In the meantime, let's turn our attention over to General Motors. It's preparing as it prepares for its future. It came in. We did hear about the layoffs. Of course, we've had a lot to do with these the big three, right, and the hirings. It's my understanding a lot of the workers actually do make very handsome salaries. Let's ask Garrett Nelson, Vice President, Senior Equity Analyst at CFRA Research. That's one of the things you feel that, you know, sort of picking the low-hanging fruit, tightening the belt, and some of these folks probably are paid a little too handsomely. Maybe they don't need them all, right?
Yeah, Nicole, I think that's right. I mean, you look at the layoffs that were announced, over 1,000 employees, but they're mainly in software development. So these are software engineers. They're not the assembly line workers, and so they're involved with, you know, more development and not production of vehicles. And so we think, you know, the announcement really represents low-hanging fruit. And a lot of automakers have been developing software in-house. And, you know, we think it really makes more sense for a lot of automakers such as GM to really outsource that software development.
So what they're telling you is that white-collar workers are being laid off from General Motors. And see, nobody complains when it's really white-collar workers. They only complain when it's union members. I only see all of the videos, union members, all this plant downshifting. So Stellantis was laying off workers. Stellantis been cut their white collar, a lot of their white collar workers. And I think that they're preparing themselves to be sold. Not Stellantis themselves, but the Ford and the Dodge and the Chrysler divisions of Stellantis. I might go and buy me a Hellcat today. Let me go and look at my stock portfolio and see what's going on. But they have been laying off white collar workers for the longest. GM has been downsizing. It's a lot of different companies and tech companies, major companies have been downsizing across the board. But nobody complains when white collar workers get downsized. And it's not that the company is doing bad. Actually, General Motors is continuing to have blowout quarters and record profits. But when they have no use for you, either they merge with a different division or they adopt new software or they outsource a part of it. Then they say that, well, we don't necessarily need you in this team in order to develop proprietary software specifically for our customers. We're outsourcing a lot of this work to other companies that do it better than us because we're an auto manufacturer, not necessarily per se a technology company that develops software. And so you see a lot of these people get cut, including 1,000 jobs in software and services, which is one of the reasons why General Motors, which is headquartered here in Detroit, is actually downsizing their headquarters, and they're moving from the GM headquarters over into the new Hudson building over the next couple of years. And they're going to have a smaller footprint, but much bigger profits to continue to drive the company, which in turn actually is to shareholders' delight. Investors in the company says, yes, good management, Mary Barra, great job, continuing to trim the fat. We don't want to spend money where it's not due. But then other people that are not or do not understand the business side of it, and this is why their stock then popped, other people that don't understand the business side of it will say, oh my God, but this is American jobs. This is what the industry does. This is what happens. And nobody is ever going to feel sorry for white collar workers. The only people that they ever give any grace to are the people that's on the other side of the fence that's not white collar.
Any number of companies that are out there. And so
who won't buy a Hellcat today? Shit, you talking to the wrong one. You talking to the wrong one. We'll talk about that in a minute. Give me a second. Let me get to the rest of the segment.
I think that's really what was behind this announcement.
You know, all of it sort of reminds me of the whole UAW strike. It was the longest strike, and they all kept coming to the bargaining table. And, why strike in the end to get higher pay and more benefits? Because in the end, y'all get laid off.
These are not junior jobs.
But, right? I mean, it's not necessarily going so great.
That's right. I mean, we saw the impact of the UAW strike last fall, and they end up paying much higher wages to those UAW workers. And so, what do the automakers choose to do? Is they choose to make some layoffs elsewhere. And so, we think we're going to see more of these types of announcements across the industry. Especially from the big three. Auto inventories are at their highest level in 4 years right now. And their comps are difficult. We're coming off of a big year of year-over-year sales growth in the U.S., where these companies earn the lion's share of their profits. And comps are much more difficult, looking ahead out over the next few quarters. And so we do think you're going to see more of these types of announcements here.
Meaning that they're going to continue to trim the fat from American jobs, which is going to affect auto workers and it's going to affect a lot of different people in different industries. On the flip side, on a technology perspective, Cisco is also laying off more workers in their second round of layoffs.
Well, Lauren, what I could tell you is that these Cisco buildings here behind me can look a little bit different by this week's end, as Reuters and several other media outlets are reporting the tech company could be undergoing another round of large layoffs as soon as tomorrow. But the impact here in RTP tonight, if any, remains unclear. A big shakeup in the tech space. Giant Cisco is said to be going through another round of layoffs this week, its second so far this year. NC State economist Michael Walden says this is on par for the industry.
Many companies, Google's cut back, Microsoft's cut back, so this would not be unique for Cisco.
Reuters was the first to report the news, as Wednesday the company's CEO is set to address investors with info on its quarterly earnings.
The way I read it right now is it's not necessarily that Cisco is underperforming compared to the other tech companies, but they may feel as if they're underperforming compared to how they performed in the past and how the entire tech sector is performing right now.
Cisco sits as Durham County's fourth largest employer and North Carolina's 47th.
You know what's so funny? I was looking at an interview. I just pulled it up right now. I was looking at an interview from Cisco's CEO that said that they just having blowout quarters and they doing really, really well, but they have a lot of redundancy. And when they say redundancy, that means that we have multiple different people doing the same job. And we can actually have one worker, or we bought a company and we don't need all of that same department. We already got our own processes in place, but we wanted this segment of your business. And so what we did was we getting rid of all of those workers over there and we gonna merge your business into what we got going on. I was literally just looking at them, his CEO on CNBC, and he was talking about the fact that the company is doing well and the market is responding positively to their strategy, and they're actually doing really well as a company, but that does not disclude you from being laid off. What y'all have to understand is that when you're making these big dollars, no matter what segment of the company that you in, when you're a white collar worker, you're an at-will employee. I don't care what the offer is. I don't care what's going on. I don't care about seniority. You're an at-will employee. So at any point, at any time, which is one of the reasons why we try to run it up and make as much money as we can, and we also invest in ourselves, at any time, you could be losing your position and losing your job, regardless of how well the company is doing. The company does not have a downturn in order for them to let you go. It only has to make sense for the bottom line that ultimately appeases the shareholders, because upper management, and they don't just let people go that's valuable to the company, but if there's a redundancy and upper management sees that there's more value to be added into the company, then that's exactly what the decision is going to be, because it's business. It's not personal to them.
Chuck Robbins reported a good quarter and is optimistic for Cisco. We have to touch on the layoffs, obviously, because a lot of people being laid off. But Chuck, I have to tell you, it's been a while since you just told me, you know what, the customers are buying. They need our stuff, and we're ready. And this was you at your most upbeat, Chuck.
Yeah, Jim, first of all, thanks for having me. It's good to see you guys. If you really step back and think about what's happened over the last 4 years, it's really hard to believe. But this past quarter is when we just exited the overall impact from the pandemic, the supply chain shock. We went through this phase where our customers, they were
look at how the
absorbing all
market
this
has
equipment we
responded.
shipped them, and they
Do you see how the market responded to them? It was up 10% when they announced layoffs, and they decided to consolidate certain parts of their company, even though the profits is up. In shareholders' minds, And I can't wait to Stock Club. I love Stock Club. Stock Club is popping off in the Patreon. If you're not a part of the Patreon, link is in the description. Shareholders respond beautifully when they do layoffs that do not affect the overall business operations, but ultimately make the company leaner, faster, and quicker to respond to market conditions. You're absolutely going to be rewarded as a CEO because it's not about American jobs. It's about how it is that you can continue to capitalize off of technology and make the company more efficient. That's how CEOs make their pay.
We finally got through it. I mean, it's really hard. We were talking about it yesterday, and it's hard to believe this thing's been going on for 4 years. But we said 2 or 3 quarters ago we thought that would end at the end of Q4, which it did. And, you know, it's...
I look at Cisco as a possible play. We might have to invest in it. It might be too late at this point, but we'll see.
The order growth was great. We saw the demand return. We saw it across the board. And if you look at the last 2 years from a revenue perspective have been the 2 highest years of revenue we've had in the history of the company. So,
last 2 years from a revenue perspective, and this is straight out of the CEO's mouth. Chuck Robbins said the last 2 years from a revenue perspective is the biggest 2 years that we've had in the company's history. In the company's history. And they saying, listen, and we're going to still continue to lay off people because we got redundancies in what's going on inside of the company.
We had our best gross margins ever during the quarter. We had the highest sequential order growth from Q3 to Q4 we've seen in over 20 years, so it was pretty solid.
And the shareholders are rewarding it. The market is rewarding.
Chuck made a mistake buying Splunk. I happen to love CEO of Splunk. I happen to love what he's doing. And I said, I think this is one of the greatest acquisitions because security is really important. But more importantly, they were not able to get enough. They needed more scale. And you gave them
Cisco wasn't on my radar as a technology company at all. I got to admit,
it is ahead, and you're right. A lot of the things that we bring to them, number one, is scale of customer reach. They were very concentrated in a certain set of customers. Geographically, providing international reach, the partner community that we have that they really hadn't established. So we have all of those opportunities. And we saw during the quarter, we saw roughly 10 deals that we've now closed with the teams working together, and it's only 4 months in. So you got to remember, we didn't even expect to close this deal until September.
Right.
And we closed it in March early. So
shout out to Cisco, and then I hope all of the workers that got laid off, they learn a valuable lesson as a result of this. Somebody said, how can I become a bag chaser? The link is in the description to join the Patreon. Yeah, man. It's interesting. It's a tale of two worlds, depending on what side of the fence that you're looking on. But I've always said to myself, I want to be on the side of the winners, regardless of whether or not they laying off, instead of the side of the losers. Let me take care of this real quick. Let me see something.
Hello.
Hey, I'm on a live stream. You busy?
Nope. What's going on?
Oh, I see you watching me. I hear me in the background. Yeah.
No, that's somebody else.
Yeah, right. You my biggest fan. Anyways, I'm thinking about buying a Hellcat. What do you think about that?
I think that from an investment perspective, it's a good idea, but not to drive it.
So you think I should look into it? You think I should get one?
Yeah.
All right. Call, actually, I got one up. I had pulled it up while I was on the live stream. It's an email. I'm going to send an email. It is, give me a second.
I got the email pulled up now.
Yeah, you got it up? You got it up?
Well, mine is probably a little delayed, so I don't see anything yet.
I'm going to send it to you in a second. Call them. It's, I like all of my cars white, and so I just pulled it up. Call us and see what's happening with it, and then we're going to see if we can go ahead and close this deal as soon as possible.
Okay, yeah, send it to me because I still don't see it. It haven't came up yet.
All right, cool.
All right, bye.
Bye. All right, piss me off. Piss me off if you want to. You don't understand. Your $100 is like $100,000 to me. It's a difference. You know what I'm saying? It's a difference. Anyway, and get you and also, ladies and gentlemen, get you a chick that supports you in your dreams and say, anytime I say, you know what, I'm thinking about going to spend this. I'm about to go spend $100,000 on that. You know what? You deserve it. I think that you actually live your life, King. Get you a chick that say, live your life, King. Your car says, AD, if you get the Hellcat, then Rita gets to go on a shopping trip. When did it take for me to have to buy something for myself for her to go on a shopping trip? She called me yesterday and said, yeah, I'm on my way home. Me and such just went out today or whatever, blah, blah, blah. I said, how much? I said, where'd you go? You went shopping? I got a couple of items. She ain't waiting on me to go shopping. She ain't wait. All my cars is white, except for the Impala SS. Everything else is white. Let me see. All right, y'all, listen. After hours tonight, I'm sure that Barack Obama, I don't know what the agenda is going to be tonight, but we definitely going to be reviewing what happened at the Democratic National Convention, Barack and Michelle, and maybe we'll even watch it. I don't want to watch that. I want to talk about some other stuff. Maybe we'll talk about a review or whatever, but after hours tonight, don't worry, I'm going to have Quentin on there, and we're going to be reviewing and paying attention, and we're going to definitely take y'all phone calls, so make sure y'all call in. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Thank y'all for continuing to hold me down. Stay focused, my friends.